Liang became excited. This is awesome, this is awesome. Han Ju anxiously thought, it seems like a new record has been set. Lao Wang has been attacked too many times. How many people are there? The system leaderboard displayed that his friend Huang Jihao was attacked by demonic cultivators, and his cultivation had skyrocketed by 555 years. Here, with a sword, Jihao charged into the demon and monster stronghold, injured while fighting, thinking, damn, the more you fight, the worse it gets. Huang Jihao had been fighting for 5 days and nights, his spiritual energy almost depleted, and the moment of despair had arrived. The demon lord spoke, kid, your talent is not bad. If you agree to kneel, I won't kill you, but if you remain stubborn, don't blame me for being ruthless. Jihao helplessly said, the demon lord even personally came out, really seems like you value me. He felt his body being suppressed, damn, this kind of pressure, I'm no match for it. But this pressure feels like that of that senior. Thinking of Han Ju's figure, if I don't even have the courage to face the evil, how can I challenge that senior? He thought this, then smiled at the group of demonic cultivators and said, why do you think I'll listen to you? After saying that, his body exploded with spiritual energy, standing up and saying, I was born with the heart of a sword, live for the sword, die for the sword. If my sword is no longer sharp, what meaning is there in my life? His eyes filled with battle intent, come as many as you want. If you're capable, come. Bring as many as you want to be cannon fodder. Suddenly, a voice from above praised, well said. Throughout history, righteousness will always triumph over evil. When facing demonic cultivators, righteous cultivators should die rather than surrender. It was a figure of righteousness, surrounded by a dragon. Junior, your performance is excellent. Jihao looked up, confused, staring at the righteous cultivator. The demonic cultivators, seeing the Taoist appear, were frightened and retreated. Esteemed Taoist, reinforcements from the heavenly immortal mansion have arrived. The demon lord shouted, old man, where did you come from? Don't you know when to die? Righteous Taoist replied, Li Qioma, do you really think the righteous path has no one to stop you? Hearing this, Li Qioma waved his hand to scatter the dust around. Esteemed Taoist, do you think just breaking through to the 8th level of the tribulation stage is enough to stop me? You're a fool daydreaming. Several figures suddenly appeared from nowhere. What if we join in? My ancestor has been in closed-door cultivation for 1,000 years. I heard the demon sect plans to control the world. What a joke. I think you are the one who doesn't know when to die. The demon sect is so insignificant, and you dare to show up and cause chaos. Go die. Li Qioma thought, old ancestor Ji of the heavenly immortal mansion is at the 3rd level of the Great Ascension stage, and 5 of the 12 Taoists from the heavenly immortal mansion have already arrived. This will be difficult to handle. Old ancestor Ji greeted, old friends, it's been a long time. Has your cultivation improved? The people around him cupped their fists and said, haha, a bit of progress, but how can it compare to old ancestor Ji? You must be the strongest righteous cultivator now. Old ancestor Ji responded, you're too kind. I have a grandson with extraordinary talent. When he was young, he was already at the 8th level of the tribulation stage. The world's #1 person is right before us. Then today, let's together kill one of the 5 major demon sects, bring glory to the righteous path, and open the way for Ji Tianxian's return from seclusion. Li Qioma laughed, I've been wanting to experience old ancestor Ji's Tiangang wind demon great art for a long time. A loud explosion came from the formation, sweeping everything around. Jihao, at the rear, was affected by the shockwave, thinking, it seems that the righteous side has numerous powerful experts this time. The demon sect probably won't stir up much trouble. During the invasion of the demon sect, several reclusive powerful righteous cultivators made their move, causing chaos in the demon sect's front lines. The people inside the mansion watched the battle, rejoicing, great. The heavenly Tao will not let the righteous path perish. The demon sect is just a paper tiger. The real immortals seeing this news must be itching to go and exterminate the demons and defend the path. Jioding, with a serious expression, said, "No, this disaster is definitely not as simple as it seems. We cannot leave Dian. If the demon sect dares to openly appear and overthrow the righteous path's rule, how can we rely on just this strength?" Some nearby cultivators said, "Immortal, this is a great opportunity for our heavenly immortal sect and all the major sects to make a name for ourselves. Yes. If we miss this chance, who knows when another will come?" Jioding thought for a moment and said, "The Elder of Slaying Gods has not given any orders, which means this matter is definitely not as simple as it seems. The Elder must have made arrangements long ago. The Elder's predictions are mostly correct. The demon sect was defeated terribly, yet the demon emperor hasn't shown up. Clearly, they are waiting in the shadows. In the coming days, we'd better stay steady and guard Dian." After speaking, he stood up. The cultivators nearby appeared confused. "Immortal, please think this through." Jioding firmly said, "You must not disturb the Elder of Slaying God's plan out of impulse." After saying that, he left. And the cultivators behind him spoke in unison, "Yes, we will follow the Immortal's instructions and firmly guard Dian." The Grand Elder of the Yuan Yao Yi Sacred Sect was then recruited into the Heavenly Immortal Sect. He said with concern, "The leaders I follow are also virtuous. They are almost as great as Emperor Zun." The High Priest of the Yuan Jiolong Sect also joined the Heavenly Immortal Sect. "Fine, the original sect's Wei Yuan is really unreasonable and only knows how to get angry." The two sighed, lamenting their difficult fate. At this moment, Emperor Zun Tian was using a lotus leaf to shield from the rain when he suddenly sneezed, seemingly because of the two mentioned. 7 years later, Feng Liang broke through to the first level of the nascent soul stage. The four of them were surprised by this progress. The master's progress is so fast. The talent created by our master is truly terrifying. As expected of the talent created by our grandmaster. It consumes cultivation and lifespan to defy fate, truly terrifying. Mu Ti's mind was in chaos at this moment. "Sigh, this progress is too fast. At this rate, he will catch up to me soon. Damn, this kid is a mad protector of the master. I've taught him several times, and will he come to settle the score with me in the future?" The more he thought about it, the more determined he became. No, I can't wait any longer. I must find an opportunity to implement the Zhou Do 201 plan quickly. Outside, Tian Di Chao was calling out, "Feng Liang, Morongqi, the master has something to find you for." Feng Liang worriedly said, "Senior brother, master is summoning us. Did we do something wrong? Are we going to be punished?" Rongqi replied, "What are you thinking? Have you forgotten master's previous promise to you? This time, master surely wants to keep you by his side and personally teach you." Feng Liang happily laughed, "Really? That's great. I've been waiting for this day for so long." The two bowed their heads to Hanju and said, "Master, long life to you." Hanju said, "You too have excellent talent. Today, I will teach you the 4 ultimate skills of my Han clan." After speaking, he extended his hand, and a golden ball of spiritual energy formed in his palm. The two looked at the energy ball, and suddenly, a thunderous sound rang in their ears. A flood of knowledge rushed into their minds. The 3 Qing Shadowless Sword, 7-fold Phantom Steps, Great Heavenly Thunder, and Storm God Art. Feng Liang thought, "Why are there so many explanations of cultivation techniques in my mind?" Hanju continued, "These 4 ultimate skills will ensure that you can fight when you encounter enemies, defend when facing many foes, break formations when surrounded, and escape when facing a strong enemy. I hope you can walk steadily, step by step, and even walk 1,000 steps on the path of cultivation." At this moment, Hanju shone with a radiant light in the eyes of the two. "Immortal mansion, my hair tied with vows, eternal life." Dong. Qi and Feng Liang knelt. "Thank you, master. We will protect you throughout our lives and follow you on this path of cultivation." Hearing this, Hanju said, "No, the purpose of me teaching you this technique today is not to bind you to this desolate mountain, but to make you leave." Upon hearing this, Feng Liang's soul left his body, and his face turned pale. Hanju looked at the two in front of him, his expression serious, but there was a hint of sadness in his eyes as he clearly told them, "But to make you leave." Feng Liang was flustered, unable to believe his ears. He didn't know what mistake he had made or who he might have affected in the sect. Feng Liang stammered, asking Hanju, "Master, what did I do wrong?" Mo Rong beside him was also surprised by the suggestion to leave the Yuling sacred sect. Hanju asked, "Do you two have any mistakes?" Feng Liang, feeling a bit confused, answered with a trembling voice, "If I have done nothing wrong, why does Master want me to leave?" Hanju did not immediately reply. He lowered his head, his gaze unfocused, already having a plan in mind. The changes in the world are so fast. The achievements of nascent soul cultivators are unpredictable. And even talents like Mo Rongqi, who is a war god of the upper realms, cannot compare. After years in the mountains, Feng Liang, this kid, seems to have cultivated a cautious character. With a cautious character plus the world's fortune, even if he dies in the future, it will be difficult. Feng Liang and Dong Qi knelt in front of Hanju, and Hanju praised their efforts. "You two are geniuses. You joined my sect at a young age and have progressed smoothly, but you still lack experience in the mortal world." He finally understood the purpose. "You mean disciples should go out to train?" At this moment, Dong Qi's mood gradually calmed, and he finally got his wish. His heart was filled with gratitude, and he let go of his worries. "Master has finally agreed to let me leave the mountain." On that lonely and rugged road, the path was full of hardships, but for someone like Dong Qi, who valued freedom, it was a good choice. He had long wanted to soar away. "With my talent, I will surely make a name for myself, become strong, and be admired by all." Master's strength has never been denied, but not everyone is suited to this cultivation method. The outside world may not have the blessings of the immortal cultivation mountain, but I can create my own opportunities. Strong people have always been like this. Feng Liang slapped the grass with both hands, still yearning to cultivate like Hanju. Feng Liang spoke, "Master." He knelt, his mind only thinking of diligently cultivating in the immortal mountain. Feng Liang pleaded, "I have no interest in the mortal world. I only wish to pursue immortality with Master. Master has paid such a great price for me. How could I leave?" Hanju reached out and patted Feng Liang's head, saying, "The path to immortality is not as simple as you think. Nascent soul cultivators not only need to cultivate their bodies but also their hearts." Feeling Hanju's care, Feng Liang looked forward, his eyes filled with emotion. Hanju knelt on one knee and stroked Feng Liang's head, telling him, "To perfect the nascent soul, you must supplement your experiences in the mortal world." Dong Qi also turned around and persuaded, "Junior brother, listen to Master. I will take you out to see the world." Feng Liang still couldn't bear it, looking up at Hanju and weakly calling out, "Master." He interrupted, go out and experience the world." After speaking, Hanju disappeared into the air, leaving only a golden spiritual energy sphere in the sky. The two knelt in front of Hanju's cave, and his voice faintly echoed in the air. "Only by going out and experiencing the world can a cultivator who understands the mundane truly comprehend the true meaning of heaven and earth and accept the tasks of the Yuling sacred sect. You can always return when tired." Zhang'an, Mushi, and Tiandong also arrived. Mushi, hearing Hanju's decision, broke out in a sweat. "Master is actually sending these two kids out?" Tiandong opened his mouth in surprise. This is the first time Master has actively sent someone down the mountain. Hearing this, Feng Liang finally understood that Master truly had his best interests at heart and did not want him to leave. Tiandong scratched his head, hoping that one day Master would allow him to go down the mountain. He said, "I wonder when Master will let me go down the mountain." Zhang teasingly retorted, "You still want to go down the mountain? Haven't you been beaten enough?" He snorted, "Going down the mountain for training isn't just about getting beaten." Mushi lazily lay nearby and finally spoke, "That's right, there's also the fate-accepting mansion." Mushi stared at everyone with a sharp gaze, warning, Fang Liang and Dong Qi will definitely progress very slowly while training. When you return, my Chudo Plan 2.0 will surely succeed. By then, you too will have to continue being suppressed by our Ji family. Di Chao stood nearby, watching everyone send Fang Liang and Dong Qi off. Zhang An reminded Dong Qi, "Cheer, you must take good care of your junior brother." Fang Liang reluctantly grasped Zhang An's hand. "Master, you must take care of yourself too." Dong Qi's voice was firm. "Master needn't worry, I will bring junior brother back safely." Tian. Dong raised his hand and patted his head, saying to Dong Qi, "You're leaving, so what about our fishing task?" Before the scene changed, a soft voice sounded from the picture in front. "Is going out to train really that important for the master?" Hanju was lying down reading a book when Di Chao walked over and said, "I'm going down the mountain for a walk, it feels pretty ordinary." Hanju rested his chin on his hand and replied, "You've already experienced thousands of years of growth. Naturally, you'll find the world outside dull." Hanju stared at the book, but still didn't forget to remind Di Chao, "Work hard in your cultivation. Your talent is no worse than theirs, and your character has no flaws. Strive to catch up with them as soon as possible." Di Chao lowered his head and lightly closed his eyes. "Agreed, master." Although his eyes were fixed on the book, his mind was thinking about other things. As for who will ultimately reveal who the pioneer is, I have long seen through it. I walk my own great path, you have your own stage, and in the future, there will certainly be a place for you in this world. I wonder who will have more surprises when we meet again next time. Rongqi carried a bundle and a sword, walking, while Fang Liang still felt reluctant and looked back at the direction of the mountain, feeling a sense of attachment. Everyone stood by the stone tablet, silently waving as they watched the two descend the mountain. Chang'an was still worried, saying anxiously to everyone, "This time going down the mountain is extremely dangerous. I wonder if Lianger and Cheer can handle it." Mugu was also unhappy, speaking with a worried heart. "Sigh, the outside world is so dangerous. I wonder how the dog is doing, is it still alive? Or dead?" Tiandong saw that Mugu was overly concerned. "Don't worry, that kid is tough. It's harder to kill him than to go against the heavens." The dog was looking troubled and gloomy. Suchi sat on the dog's back, propping his chin with his hands and looking at the dog's expression and state, feeling concerned for it. Suchi asked, "Is your stomach still hurting?" The dog, in a bad mood, didn't want to respond. 8 years passed in the blink of an eye. Looking at the growing tree spirit, Mugu secretly thought, "It's been a while since we moved. The master probably hasn't noticed." Mugu looked up at it, then quietly made an objective assessment. "Looking at this posture, the next round of Chudo is about to arrive, it's just a matter of time." A psychedelic red light appeared in the sky, enveloping the entire sky. Mugu looked up excitedly and shouted, "It's here, it's here, it's finally here. The Gu family can finally advance." At Jinwu sect, Shengguan Chujian was sitting and roasting fish when one of his subordinates saw the red light surrounding them and hurriedly reported, "Elder Shengguan, someone has already comprehended the eternal sword way." Qiujian didn't pay much attention to this and continued focusing on roasting the fish, casually responding, Over here, Hanju and Qingjun were engaged in battle. Hanju's Qilin sword clashed with her crescent blade, producing a loud sound. She quickly counterattacked with her sword technique. The red light emitted by the blade was very powerful. Qingjun suppressed Hanju from a high position. He exerted force to perform a move, shouting, "Three Qing Pearl Spirit." The airflow and internal energy made this move even more powerful, and golden light flickered in the air, but it seemed to have little effect on Qingjun's speed and strength. She jumped down from the high ground and struck with her sword. The force of this strike put Hanju in a difficult position. She also said to him, "Too slow, hidden lover." With one swing of her blade, she directly split Hanju in two, and the Qilin sword also broke along with its master. While Qingjun was still happy, the bloodied figure in front of her quickly vanished. Her mind exploded, distraction. Just as she realized, Hanju's finger had already poked the back of her head, stunning her. He told Qingjun it's a tie, but there was a hint of joy in his heart, finally defeated someone at the third level of the Great Ascension realm. At this moment, the system prompted, simulation battle ended, time spent 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Hanju stood still like a fossil, feeling anxious. As a 6th tribulation crossing cultivator, he was slightly worried. I even used the Tai divine power, and it still took several minutes to win. The Demon Emperor only has this level of cultivation, so if I can't kill him instantly, it will certainly be troublesome. Hanju looked up at the red light in the sky, curious. Eternal Sword Way, someone has already entered the Sword Dao River. Hanju thought to himself, I heard that the last person who comprehended it was at the integration realm, but now they're in the tribulation crossing realm. Looks like I should go in and take a look, and also improve my divine powers. Meanwhile, the aroma of the golden, crispy fish Shangguanqiujian was roasting filled the air. He thought, it must be him. Qiujian took a big bite of fish, and in his heart, he was certain that if it really was that senior, then it would be fine, but if it were anyone else, he would really want to ignore it. While he was thinking, his subordinate interrupted him. Looking at his expression, it was clear there was no good news. Soon after, the subordinate reported, Report, Elder Shangguan, someone else has comprehended the Eternal Sword Way. He shouted in surprise. What? Wasn't there already someone earlier? The subordinate fearfully said, this time, the color seems different. In the sky, the light flickered, like the Milky Way in broad daylight. Shangguanqiujian exclaimed in astonishment that purple-gold color is the symbol of the Eternal Sword Way reaching its peak. 2 anomalies appeared on the same day. Could the Eternal Sword Way really have such street-level phenomena? Shangguanqiujian, helpless, trembled as he held the roasted fish in his hand. He looked at the purple gold light, and his heart began to waver, silently roaring in his mind, I'm so tired, I really want to retire. In the Sword Dao River, Hanju thought to himself, this time, I should be able to meet that person. In front of him, a blurry figure appeared, it was Miss Zhang. Hanju spoke, Senior, long time no see, how have you been recently? Zhang Guqing calmly crossed her arms and replied. It hasn't been that long. I just didn't expect you to return so quickly. This time, I won't stop you. Go die. Hanju's eyes sparkled as he cheerfully cupped his hands and said, You're joking, Senior. Thanks for your help back. Then, could you tell me your name? After I ascend, I'll personally come to thank you. Zhang Guqing said somewhat unhappily. Stop trying to build connections with me. I guard the Sword Dao River just to protect the Sword Dao. Zhang Guqing continued, relying on the strong doesn't make you stronger. You're not like the previous genius. Although he didn't go as far as you, he was a kind-hearted person. Becoming a sword immortal in the future will not be difficult for him. Hanju widened his eyes and curiously asked, what was that person's name? Zhang Guqing shook her head and said, of course, I can't say. Anyone who comes here is not simple. And the entanglement of fate is very complicated. He scratched his head, can't say? I understand. Zhang Guqing calmly looked at him and said, since you understand things, I'll give you a piece of advice. I do indeed have karma with you. Hanju was stunned and asked, the Sword Dao genius has karma with me? He speculated, the genius didn't walk as far as I did, and his cultivation must be lower than mine. Wait. If it's equivalent to being born with a mortal energy, I remember he was born with a sword heart. He pictured the person in his mind and sighed, that person is Huang Jihao. Zhang Guqing suddenly became silent and stopped speaking, silently thinking to herself, this kid has some skills. Hanju's face contorted, bending like an old man. He struggled to step forward. Last time he only took 3 steps, this time he needed to take more. Now it was the 4th step, sigh, the pressure is too much. Zhang Guqing stood aside with her arms crossed, coldly saying, are you really planning to die? Don't expect me to save you this time. Hanju stubbornly said, I won't trouble you, Senior. He was overwhelmed by the pressure, his face wrinkling. Hanju shouted, "Fifth step." His legs trembled. Hanju crossed his arms, breathing heavily, his chest tightening. Zhang Guqing stood by and spoke, "Kid, if you keep going, you're likely to explode and die. This is not a joke." She coldly said, "Don't blame me for not warning you. If you see green flames burning your soul, it's a warning that you must not go any further." Suddenly, a green flame flashed in Hanju's eyes. The person exclaimed in shock, "I see a ghost." "Stop, did you hear me?" He shouted loudly, but Hanju kept moving forward. "Hey, stop, don't force yourself. If you continue, you'll endanger your true body. Don't you know?" His voice grew louder, "Even if you don't die, your cultivation will be severely damaged, and you will never return here in your lifetime." Hanju walked out of the flames, sixth step, after Tai. Hanju smiled and said, "Don't worry, Han has never fought an unprepared battle." The person exclaimed in shock, "You were able to withstand such a powerful divine sense. You must be close to Tai. How could someone in the tribulation crossing realm do this?" Hanju silently thought, "Miss Xing, you've helped me a lot. Luckily, I have this nameless item that strengthens my divine sense. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to achieve this breakthrough." He looked at his hand. It's already the limit for someone in the tribulation crossing realm to come this far. If it's the Great Ascension realm next time, how far can I go? Hanju's divine sense gradually faded. With just one more step, he would be closer to the path of immortality. He said his farewell, "I have reached my goal, and will no longer disturb your cultivation, senior." Watching Hanju disappear, the remaining persons stood there in thought, using fire to disperse the consciousness. He knows how to return. Fortunately, his soul hasn't been destroyed. It seems that after 1,000 years, he will return at the Great Ascension level, and it won't take 100 years. He leaned on his waist and looked at the sky. A mortal has actually made it to 6 steps. In the sword Dao River after Tai, his sword talent has surpassed the limits of the mortal world. Even millions of sword cultivators in the mortal world can't catch up to him. What background does this kid have? It seems I need to pass this to the true body. 100 million yuan has at least brought some joy. On the outer rock wall, a few words were engraved, "Endure for a moment, and the sky will brighten." Hanju's divine sense returned to his body. He was fishing by the large meadow when he was startled. Spiritual energy erupted. The master has advanced again. At this point, Hanju had broken through to the 7th level of the tribulation crossing realm, just 1% away. At that moment, the system prompted, "Zhang Guqing has developed a positive impression of you. Current affection level, 1 star. A circular icon appeared on the system interface, like the one above the blue-clad man's divine sense earlier, showing Mid-Tai True Immortal. The text read, "Zhang Guqing has developed a positive impression of you, 1 star. Protector of the Sword Dao River for 100 million yuan. Due to your outstanding sword talent, she has developed a positive impression of you but is doubtful about your nature. If you continue to make contact with her, it may lead to dislike." Hanju thought deeply. Zhang Guqing, Zhang Qingjian, indeed a prideful genius, protector of the Sword Dao River for 100 million yuan, truly an impressive Tai True Immortal. I must hold on to this big leg. He took another careful look at the system interface's information. Protector of the Sword Dao River for 100 million yuan. Due to your outstanding sword talent, she has developed a positive impression of you but is doubtful about your nature. If you continue to make contact with her, it may lead to dislike. Hanju pondered, so this is what a strong person is like, so indifferent. Next time, I'll ignore her and see if I can increase her affection. Then he suddenly remembered the man's words, "Relying on the strong won't make you stronger." Hanju stroked his chin and shook his head, "Forget it, the big shot is right. Even in iron forging, you must rely on your own skill." His gaze shifted. To learn immortality, true cultivation is the right path. Never rely on others' power. Hanju extended his hand and immediately, two circles appeared at his fingertips, resembling the sun and moon, your divine power. Heaven and Earth Xianhuang breaking sword finger has significantly improved, upgraded to Tai divine power. He nodded. Not bad, the methods for long-range combat are ready. Hanju thought for a moment and decided, I'll go try to find her. In the simulation practice field, Qing Jun was standing there adjusting her weapon. Hanju spoke, sorry, in this circle, you have the strongest combat power. No one is more suitable than you. Hanju looked at her and said, I'll trouble you, Miss Xian. Qing Jun immediately grabbed her sickle and charged forward. The reflection of the moon appeared in her eyes, and the moon's shadow reversed. In the blink of an eye, Qing Jun appeared behind Hanju. Hanju calmly spoke, his voice surprising Qing Jun, no originality at all. He softly said, Heaven and Earth Xianhuang breaking sword finger. Qing Jun's body was instantly cut into several pieces. Hanju's two fingers emitted smoke. I've fought you over 100 times, and I've mastered all the patterns. The system prompt sounded, simulation practice ended, time used, 2 seconds. Looking at half of Qing Jun's head in front of him, Hanju said, not counting the time, it's almost a second. Going to the Sword Dao River, the speed of progress is truly unreasonable. Let's increase the difficulty. Qing Jun was revived and was now set to the 4th level of the Great Ascension Realm. The system prompt sounded again, simulation practice started. As Qing Jun fell to the ground, the system prompt sounded again, ended, time used, 1 second. Hanju looked at her split body and sighed. As expected, the Tai sword move, it shattered her with one strike. He thought to himself, my cultivation hasn't reached the Great Ascension, yet I already have a Great Ascension level. Move. Truly extravagant. Hanju muttered, but it should be enough to deal with the Demon Emperor. Hanju proudly stroked his chin and laughed, after all, the higher the cultivation, the greater the gap between realms. From the system's information, it seems the Demon Lord won't participate in the battle. But there are still 4 demon monarchs besides her. Let's continue challenging the 6th level. In the simulation trial field, the 3rd round was underway, and Qing Jun had been adjusted to the 6th level of the Great Ascension Realm. Hanju looked up at her. This time, it's probably around 80% of the demon army's strength. I can't be careless this round, Hanju smirked. Inwardly. In a battle of experts, victory or defeat is decided in an instant. Fortunately, she's used to making the first move. I already know that I can win by counterattacking. Next, she will dodge to the left. However, unexpectedly, Qing Jun suddenly appeared in front of him, and Hanju was startled. She sneered coldly. Hanju was stunned. This script isn't right, he thought. Before he could figure it out, the lower half of his body had already been hit by Qing Jun's strike, creating a huge hole. Hanju was unwilling to accept this, as after several rounds of combat, he had proven his reaction speed was still no match for Qing Jun, and the second was also suffering quite a bit. Hanju lay on the ground, clutching his vital parts and crying, I can't beat her, can't beat her. I'll cultivate to the Great Ascension first and think about fighting 4 at once later. Suddenly, a notification board appeared in front of him. Hanju saw a lot of information written on it. Your divine pet, the Chaos Celestial Dog, was attacked by righteous cultivators X38222. Your disciple, Suchi, was attacked by demon cultivators X12004. Your disciple, Suchi, cast a curse, causing the Demon Dao dynasty's fortune to rapidly decline. Your grandson, Feng Liang, encountered an opportunity and learned body-refining divine skills. Your friend, Li Kumo, was attacked by a powerful righteous cultivator and died. Your grandson, Feng Liang, broke through his realm, killed a transforming deity demon cultivator, and comprehended divine powers. Your friend, Huang Jihai, was attacked by demon cultivators X41172. Your grandson, Feng Liang. Hanju was shocked. Li Kumo is dead? What happened? Has it really become a 1-on-3? I wonder which deity did this. Over there, smoke and dust were spreading. A voice came from the ruins. How is this possible? How is this possible? He was only at the 9th level of the Tribulation Crossing realm. A person wearing green earrings revealed an eerie smile. This sword is to kill for my ancestor. A shadow in the ruins stuttered, the ancestor of the heavenly immortal mansion, Old Master G, could it be? The person pointed to the sword hilt. You can escape the 1st, but certainly not the 15th. There's something to do as soon as I break out. Although it's troublesome, I'll still give you a favor and let you return with your whole body. Be grateful and go die. As soon as he finished speaking, the shadow immediately dissipated in the sunlight. 5 years later, still outside, the stone tablet was engraved with words, "Endure for a moment, the wind will calm." The grass was also cultivating. The Sword of Enlightenment's cultivation speed was considered fast, and perhaps soon, it could break through to the nascent soul realm. Tiandong was also close to reaching the transformation deity realm, while the black-eyed chicken was still struggling. At the void realm, cultivating slowly. It called out, "Why is it so different? Why don't I cultivate like the master?" Hanju looked up and waved his hand. Finally stabilized at the 7th level of the Tribulation Crossing realm. Competing with friends and enemies in the friend list for breakthrough speed will definitely be impressive. He smirked, plans, I hope I get the chance to kill you. Don't wait until then and never meet me, or you'll be dead. At that moment, a voice called from outside, Elder Han, sorry to interrupt. Jingxi said, could you please come to the secret communication? Mo Chu insists on meeting you. Hanju was surprised. What happened to Mo Chu in the secret communication? Since the incident with the Mo family's demonic arts, Mo Chu had been under house arrest in the secret communication. Quietly cultivating. The voice of Hanju came from the secret communication. Is there something wrong? Mo Chu hesitated and said, I want to leave. Please let me go. My clan is waiting for me to rescue them. Hanju was confused. Is it your clan, Mo Fuzhou, or your ancestors? Mo Chu replied, save them all. Han Ju asked, did they ask for your help? She nodded, Hanju turned to Jing Si beside him and asked, how did she receive the notice that someone is coming here? She shook her head. There is no restriction that can block divine sense, and the flying crane message is also impossible. Hanju was silent. All right, the Mo family actually set up a telegram group within their bloodline. How are they even contacting each other? He took a deep breath and answered, Mo Zhu is not capable. I've already promised Mo Fuzhou that I will take care of you. The demon cultivators outside are slaughtering at will, and you don't even have the cultivation of the transformation deity realm. If you go out, it's certain death. Not to mention your Mo family ancestors. Mo Zhu stepped forward and grabbed Hanju's hand. I know what you're worried about, worried that I will be deceived by the Mo family's ancestors. She said earnestly, but although my Mo family follows the demon Tao, we're not as ruthless as you think. Now the entire Mo family is sealed, and I'm the only one with a little freedom left. If I don't save them, the Mo family will be destroyed. Tears fell from Mo Zhu's eyes. I've worked so hard to learn that besides my eldest brother, Mo, there are others. I really can't bear to watch them suffer together. Hanju stared at her for a long time, not speaking. After a while, he spoke, you might die if you go out. Are you really sure you want to leave? Mo Zhu quickly nodded, I'm not afraid of dying. Hanju sighed, all right, since you're determined, then go. Hanju handed her something shaped like a bear doll, keep this safe. Mo Zhu froze for a moment, what is this? Hanju said, put it in your storage ring. It can save your life in case of danger. He turned and walked out, leaving one last sentence, once you leave this time, don't expect me to come save you. Mo Zhu called out Hanju's name. She sat quietly and listened to Hanju say, if you die, we can only wait until the next life to reconnect. After a long while, Mo Zhu responded, Hanju's voice sounded again, the sealed secret room has been unlocked. You can leave at any time. She simply responded, Outside the door, at the sect entrance, Jingxi reminded Mo Zhu, "Don't act like Mo Fuzhou or Chu Fan and bring disgrace to the sect." Mo Zhu nodded. Thank you, Elder Jingxi, for taking care of me these years." Jingxi called her Mo Zhu. She asked, "Is there anything else, Elder?" After thinking for a moment, Jingxi said, "You're about to break through to the transformation deity realm, go ahead." But Mo Zhu shook her head. "My family is still suffering. If I stay obsessed, my heart demon will form." Hearing this, Jingxi didn't stop her. "Indeed, go ahead. Be careful." Mo Zhu made up her mind. If I can return safely this time, Mo Zhu will be loyal to the elder and will meet again in the future. Mo Zhu walked down the steps alone. Suddenly, she turned sharply. "There's an unknown presence." Mo Zhu looked up at the nearby mountains and smiled slightly. "Stubborn ghost, I know you're concerned about me, but what humans seek is not just their own safety." Mo Zhu walked in the sunlight. "In my life, besides you, there's also my brother and my family." Hanju stood at the mountain top, arms crossed, watching her. "You've discovered yourself, even though you've hidden it well." Hanju looked at Mo Zhu. "The world is treacherous. If you can recognize and avoid threats, I can relax. Go ahead." He looked at the mark on the back of Mo Zhu's neck. "There are 6 marks here. Even if you unfortunately die, I will still be able to find you." Mo Zhu walked briskly in the sunlight and wind. Hanju took out a booklet. "If anyone dares to harm Mo Zhu, they will be immediately killed, including those at the 5th level of Tribulation Crossing." He looked at a few names written in the booklet. "Mo Yuling will no longer curse you. I hope you can arrange things properly for yourself." Suddenly, Hanju muttered to himself, "It seems I should thank my parents for abandoning me. It saved me quite a bit of trouble." The grass behind him, carrying a fishing rod, asked in confusion, "Parents?" The little girl stepped forward and asked, "Master, where are your parents?" Hanju replied, "So many years have passed. They may have long turned to bones, but it's also possible that they're still alive." The grass behind him foolishly asked, "Then why didn't Master go find them earlier?" Hanju was silent in response to this question, lost in thought. He recalled his childhood. Hanju as a child sat watching his parents talk. "Back then, I was young, didn't understand, didn't get what my parents meant. I only remember my father mentioning a place and saying that taking the child along was troublesome. I also don't remember much else. They might have been planning to escape. In the end, they said they were going out for a while and would be back soon to pick me up. I've remembered that sentence ever since. From that day on, I never saw my parents return." Hanju also recalled the time when he worked with everyone in the grass, and Elder Tai had launched a search operation. Soon after, the team returned, obviously with bad news. He also remembered Elder Tai's expression at that time. Elder Tai's face looked grim as he said, "They went there." "How could that be?" "Because I was young, Elder Tai didn't tell me the truth, but I worked hard every day, ate the food from home. And even without being told, I knew the answer." Uncle Jean said to Hanju, "I've left the chili on the eggs. For you. Don't let it sting you. If you face any difficulty, you can always turn to the Jean family." Later, when Elder Tai was on his deathbed, he wanted to see me, probably to speak on behalf of my parents. It was then that I gave up. Actually, I didn't need Elder Tai's reminder. The system had already reminded me. Deep down, the emotional and hatred mechanisms, if they still remembered me, would surely feel affection. Hanju remembered sitting by the window, staring into the distance. "I once fantasized that my parents' names would appear on my friends list, but they never did." He lowered his head, his eyes filled with sadness, and Hanju coldly said, "You're dead. Why would I waste my time?" He said to the grass, "Everyone has their own desires. I can't force others to act according to mine. The people around me can stay, but I will never let them become cannon fodder." He looked at Mo Zhu happily walking forward. Hanju philosophically said, "This cultivation path is destined to be lonely. In the end, the only one responsible is yourself. And my only goal is immortality." The grass happily said, Master, don't worry. I'll always be by your side. Hanju shook his head, it's hard to say. Accidents from outside aren't something we can control. If one day, they too, for unavoidable reasons, can't let go and want to leave, I won't force them to stay. After a while, the grass cheerfully asked, Master, would you like to go fishing with me? The G family says. Now is a good season with plenty of big fish. Hanju nodded, all right, work and rest need to be balanced. By the river, the wooden chicken asked, Master, why did you let Fong Liang go? Everyone fell silent. Ever since Fong Liang left the mountain, everyone had felt uncomfortable. 2 years and 6 months later, the wooden chicken extended its wings. It caught the ball that flew from somewhere. Enthusiastically, it used its wings to hit the ball. It even knew how to throw the ball high into the air. It turned around and shook, causing the ball to fall to the ground, scaring it for a moment. Jioding stood behind, watching the wooden chicken's entire sequence of movements, silently wondering, what is it doing, dancing? Is this chicken trying to make friends? Inside the cave, Hanju asked, what brings the sect leader here? Jioding said, Elder Han, good news. He sat at the tea table and said to Hanju, just as you predicted, even though we didn't intervene, the demon Dao won't succeed. Hanju asked, what's going on? Did someone from the Holy Land go down to fight? Jioding took a sip of tea and nodded, exactly, Elder Han, you truly are insightful. The Celestial Fairy Palace has sent someone. You should have heard of Li Qioma from the 5 demon sects. He has a long-standing grudge with the Celestial Fairy Palace and other holy lands. He explained to you, the ancestor of the heavenly immortals was seriously injured by him back then. To take revenge, he sent out the strongest disciple of the Tianjiao, who forcefully slaughtered those demon cultivators in front of us. Now, they've scared people to the point of mental collapse. You know, the Tianjiao just turned 1,000 years old. Hanju thought, this can't be true. How could he have killed Li Qioma? At least he should have reached the Great Ascension stage. Are the Tianjiao outside that terrifying? Zhu Ding shook his head, I'm not sure about this, but it shouldn't be that exaggerated. Hanju looked up and thought for a moment before asking, if Li Qioma is already dead, does that mean the demon path has stopped the war? Zhu Ding didn't rush to answer and sighed, this tea is really good. Then he said, completely the opposite. While Li Qioma's death has caused panic among low-level demon cultivators, it has deepened the conflicts within the upper echelons of the demon path. It's said that the other 4 great beings of the demon path have appeared. And one of them has reached the 8th level of the Great Ascension. The situation is really not looking good. Hanju didn't quite understand and asked again, is the 8th level of the Great Ascension the strongest existence in the demon path? Zhu Ding nodded, it should be. There are records of the 9th level of the Great Ascension in the mortal realm. He asked, why? Zhu Ding answered, most of them were forcibly ascended. Hanju recalled Qing Jun's words, if anyone asks about the Qingmong, you can't admit it was you who did it. Just say that the real culprit was me. He thought, would Qing Jun be involved? She doesn't seem to be entirely on the side of the demon path. With such strength, what is she still cautious about? It should be fine. At this moment, the system reminded him, and Zhu Ding spoke up at the same time, Elder Han, the war between the righteous and the demon paths, we should no longer be able to avoid it. Hanju glanced at the system. Announcement, have you checked if the person with the special destiny and luck has viewed the source? Hanju curiously opened the information panel, and the system displayed the information about the person with special destiny and luck. Ji Tianchen, 9th level of the tribulation transcending realm, born with an invincible heart, believes. He is the only true heavenly god, extremely arrogant, born in the heavenly immortal mansion, 100-year-old golden core, 200-year-old Yuan Ing. He is the strongest Tianjiao in the history of the heavenly immortal mansion. Always in seclusion, only emerging due to the war between the righteous and demon paths. It is said that Guan Yu of the Yuqing sect is the #1 cultivator in the world and specially came to challenge him. Hanju was surprised. The strongest Tianjiao of the heavenly immortal mansion, wait, could it be? He immediately turned and asked, Master Zhu Ding, the person who killed Li Qiuma, is his name Ji Tianchen? Zhu Ding asked in confusion, what? Tianchen? Hanju repeated, Ji Tianchen. Zhu Ding still didn't understand, what Tian? Hanju asked straightforwardly, you don't know? Zhu Ding looked at the sky holding his teacup, I'm not sure, the news has spread too far, and much information has been lost. Hanju stood up and walked outside, saying to Zhu Ding, Master, continue drinking. I'm stepping out for a while. Hanju thought to himself. Since the reminder was given, it means the person is nearby, someone probably has ill intentions. He walked out the door while thinking, Ji Tianchen is extremely arrogant, the previous leader was also arrogant. Does the heavenly immortal mansion specifically train these narcissists? These two people are equally powerful, their ages are similar. And their cultivation levels surpass countless peers. The heavenly immortal mansion is deeper than I imagined. The system sent a new notification. The strongest of the heavenly sect, Ji Tianchen, 9th level of the tribulation transcending realm, initiating simulation training. The system created a simulation of Ji Tianchen for Hanju. This is Ji Tianchen, the strongest Tianjiao, indeed has an imposing presence. Tianchen stood there holding a sword. Hanju looked at him, even the 4th level of the Great Ascension might not be my match, let alone the 9th level of the tribulation transcending realm. I should be able to control him within 10 seconds. At this moment, Ji Tianchen smiled. He lifted his foot. A bleeding wound immediately appeared on Hanju's face. His eyes glanced at the object that just flew by, metal fragments. Hanju quickly rolled to avoid it, his speed not inferior to Qing Jun. He leaned back, this doesn't look like a sword technique, what kind of trick is this? An attack that ripped through the air flew past Hanju's ear. Ji Tianchen charged at Hanju with his sword. Hanju flipped in the air, tightly gripping his sword hilt, Hongmeng Judgment Sword. With a single strike, he exploded and cut off the interconnected metal fragments. The heavenly god stood firmly, holding a sword made of fragments. Hanju was surprised, controlling a sword made of fragments with qi, using this power to restrict spiritual energy, it's truly unreasonable. He suddenly realized something was wrong and looked down at the fragments that had just risen from the ground. Not good, there's another part. The heavenly god slightly moved his lips, gather, and hundreds of thousands of fragments immediately flew up, returning to his sword. At the same time, he launched an attack on Hanju's body. The heavenly god approached Hanju like lightning. Hanju sighed, not even giving me a chance to rest. Hanju pointed forward, reincarnation sword intent. The heavenly god easily blocked it. He stared blankly at Hanju in front of him. Suddenly, multiple versions of Hanju appeared around him, utilizing the sevenfold mirage step. All. The Hanjus opened their eyes, 3 pure celestial circulation, and they all launched an attack on the heavenly god. The area where they stood gathered light like the center of the Milky Way. The heavenly god smiled, interesting. Do you think I can't block it? He turned and used a secret technique, his body emitting layers of light, surrounding him like a cocoon. Heavenly immortal secret transmission, flowing light sword. Hanju widened his eyes, the 3 pure celestial circulation was blocked, and there's an aura of someone who has broken through to the great ascension level. How is that possible? The heavenly god arrogantly pointed at himself, this shield is immune to the next 3 attacks. It has blocked 1, but after this, you probably won't have a chance. He created a large light circle again, exploding heavenly will to restore order. Hanju was hit and flew backward, I underestimated the enemy. The weapon changes are peculiar, the spiritual control is at its peak, the speed is comparable to the Great Ascension, plus the protective secret technique. It even temporarily breaks through to reach its limit. So far, you are the first person at this level to force me to this extent. Hanju fell to the ground. No wonder you could break through the level and kill Li Qiuma at the 4th level of the Great Ascension. He trembled as he hugged his stomach and sat up. The heavenly god walked up to Hanju and said, "Your swordsmanship is excellent, but don't forget, your body is still like this and can only be suppressed." He smiled. "To die at the hands of the strongest of the heavenly immortals is your supreme honor. I've won this battle. Relax and accept death." His heart had no other pursuits. After a while, not understanding why the simulated heavenly god was lying on the ground, he muttered, "Why can't my killing move break the defense?" Hanju stood there, rubbing his chin and nodding. "This armor is specially designed to defend against high-level metal attacks. Your wind metal attack can be blocked. However, the internal injuries from the shock are real. System notification, simulation trial has ended." The system's voice still rang out, "Time taken, 40 seconds. Hanju looked at the heavenly god's body, which had been split in two, and sighed, "Fighting at this level for so long. I'll never forget you in this life, Ji Tianxin." Hanju returned to reality, thinking, "This is getting hard to handle. If I can't defeat a tribulation transcending realm master in one hit, I'm afraid I won't be able to defend the Yuqing sacred sect." Suddenly, a sound caught Hanju's attention. It was the sound of a flute. The flute sound echoed around. Hanju sensed something was off. Wait, it's increasingly sounding like a magical transmission. He turned his head to look at the two people sitting and fishing. Zun Chang'an, didn't Xiaohei hear that? Could it not be him? Suddenly, someone appeared in front of Hanju. "A strong enemy is coming." Hanju asked, "Elder Dooku has noticed too?" Dooku said, "Friend, it seems only those in the tribulation transcending realm can hear the sound of the flute. If they are sneaking in to provoke, it would be better for me to teach them a lesson." Hanju looked at him. "Let me go instead, you are not his match. He's in the 9th level of tribulation transcending." Dooku widened his mouth. 9th level of tribulation transcending? He then recalled Hanju's calm tone. Such a calm tone, what level of cultivation do you have to see through his details? The sound of the flute echoed through the forest. The heavenly immortal sat on a tree branch, playing the flute. He opened his eyes and heard someone ask, "What does this searching technique you are using mean?" The heavenly immortal looked at Hanju across from him and introduced himself. "I am Ji Tianxin from the heavenly immortal mansion. I heard there is a great cultivator named Guanyu in the Yuqing sacred sect, claimed to be the #1 in the world. I want to challenge him." Hanju murmured, "Guanyu." He looked at Ji Tianxin, "Here to take revenge?" Hanju answered him, "He left a long time ago, over 100 years ago." The heavenly immortal was stunned. "Where did he go?" Hanju said, "He went to deal with the demon Dao." The heavenly immortal was silent for a while and then asked, "Then how about you and I have a match? No life-threatening harm?" Hanju shook his head, "Forget it, I'm not your match." The heavenly immortal smiled, "Anyone who can hear my flute must be in the tribulation transcending realm, but I can't see through your cultivation. You must be very strong." He pointed at Hanju. "Am I right, Guanyin Chang?" Hanju squinted. "The records say this person is extremely arrogant. If I defeat him too easily, it might provoke him. If I slip up, I could be killed. It's unavoidable. I must argue with the heavenly immortal mansion." The heavenly immortal shrugged and continued, "Yun Chang, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry. I, Ji Tianxin, swear by my talent that I will not kill you in this fight." Hanju remained silent, truly arrogant. He calmly looked at the heavenly immortal and asked, "If I win, will you stop bothering me, or will it turn into hatred?" The heavenly immortal proudly slapped his chest. "No, I truly wouldn't dare. I am invincible in this world, how could I hold a grudge against you?" Hanju immediately sighed and lowered his head. "You can say such things. You really are invincible in the world." He pointed at Hanju. "How about this, let's compete with spiritual power, using palm techniques. Whoever steps back first loses." Hanju nodded. "Fine, let's fly to the sky so it won't affect the disciples of my sect." The heavenly immortal agreed, "All right." The two immediately vanished from their tree branches, leaving behind 2 red and green streaks. They flew towards the sky. Dooku looked up at the sky and was shocked. Two tribulation-transcending auras. Taoist Zhanshan has made his move. Suddenly, he turned his head to the side and, seeing the figure flying into the sky, exclaimed, "That's Ji Tianqian, the first genius of the heavenly immortal mansion has appeared again." Dooku trembled. Taoist Zhanshan, this is troublesome. Hanju and Ji Tianqian stood facing each other above several layers of clouds. The heavenly immortal smiled and waved, "Please, Taoist Yunchang." Hanju raised his hand and took a combat stance. Using six-path spiritual power directly, it's hard to yield. I'll separate it and use thunder spiritual power to deal with it. Hanju unleashed a palm strike of thunder. The heavenly immortal smiled, thunder spiritual power. He immediately gathered spiritual power into his palm and said, "How coincidental, I'm actually being suppressed by my own water spiritual power." Hanju widened his eyes, and the heavenly immortal suddenly said, "The strength of this spiritual power is off." Where their palms made contact, it seemed as if an explosion was about to happen, forming a halo like the sun, surrounding both Hanju and the heavenly immortal. He looked at the heavenly immortal. This person hasn't used his full strength yet. Looks like I need to think about how to act. The heavenly immortal frowned. He can actually resist. Should I go all out? If I injure him severely, could that be a problem? In the sky, there was a shining orb of light, formed by the clash of Hanju's and the heavenly immortal's spiritual powers. The grass below looked up and shouted in surprise, "Who is the person facing the master?" to force the master to make a move. Tiandong stood beside and also looked up, and to be evenly matched with the master, this is the first time I've seen this in all these years. Chang'an chimed in, "Such a big disturbance, it's not really like the master's style." Could he be at a disadvantage? Mukue appeared just then and said disdainfully, "Forget it, I've asked the master." Without absolute killing power, he certainly won't act. They must be playing along. Just do whatever you have to do. After saying that, it stood in front of everyone and began to dance a strange dance. Tiandong asked without a word, "Has Brother Chicken's exercise phase not ended?" The people around felt the disturbance in the sky and rushed out. What's going on in the sky? Someone groggily recognized, "That's Elder Zhanshan." Jioding quickly appeared with everyone, "Enemy attack, hurry to assist." Just as everyone was gearing up to charge out, Dooku stopped them, "No." Jioding quickly said, "Elder Dooku, weren't you in closed-door meditation just now?" Dooku ignored Jioding's question and said, "This person is a prodigy from Tianyi. Going to the heavenly immortal mansion now is like seeking death." Jioding asked, "Elder Dooku, did Elder Zhanshan leave any instructions for you?" Dooku replied, "Elder Zhanshan ordered me to guard the sect to prevent being implicated. We don't need to worry about anything else." Jioding asked again, "Is that all?" Dooku nodded and continued, "The problem is, I'm no match for him. The title of #1 in the world is not just for show." Jioding asked urgently, "Then why did he come to find us?" After thinking for a moment, he added, "The New Year's not over yet." Dooku was also anxious, "I'm not sure either, we need to wait for Elder Zhanshan." He trembled slightly, "Even you, being in the tribulation transcending realm, aren't his match. We stand no chance." Xiao Jiao stood silently, the #1 prodigy of the heavenly immortal mansion, the #1 prodigy of 5,000 years ago, and now, I am even worse than the new one. I've lost too much. Dooku anxiously spread his hands. The protective array for the sect is useless. The Yuqing sacred sect must evacuate completely. No more discussions. The myriad demon realm must give up its vanguard. The little dragon, big dragon, and the ancient dragons must also retreat. Even the secret realms won't help. The transmission bases must be abandoned. The millions of treasures in the scripture pavilion are too late to be taken. Unless Elder Zhanshan can buy us 2 minutes. It's hopeless, right? Right. Now, the Yuqing sacred sect has 81,567 disciples, including 12,000 Bloodflame Heavenly Army and 8,000 from the Nine Dragon Battle Array. The geographical distribution is uneven, so gathering everyone for a retreat is impossible. If Elder Zhanshan fights to the death in the long-range battle, Ji Tianxin uses his signature technique to quell the chaos, and it will only take 10 breaths to destroy the Yuqing sacred sect. There's no escape, heaven wants to destroy us. However, in contrast to Dooku, Jioding calmly dismissed everyone. Forget it, everyone go back. Dooku, upon hearing this, became frantic. Hey, is anyone listening to me? Jioding turned around and said, Elder Zhanshan agreed to make a move. He must have full confidence, just wait for his good news. Dooku opened his mouth in shock. How can these people trust Elder Zhanshan so much? In the sky, the heavenly immortal was coughing up blood from the blows. Hanju stood above and softly said, You've lost. He scratched his face, just adding water and wind spiritual power, and this guy can't hold on anymore. How overpowered is six-path spiritual power? Hanju thought to himself, Kid, don't go back on your word. If hatred value appears, you're finished. The heavenly immortal yelled unwillingly, How is this possible? 3-colored spiritual power can completely suppress me? He wiped his mouth. No, it's not because of the 3 spirit roots. You are in the great ascension realm. Hanju looked at the heavenly immortal and quietly thought, seeing this unwilling face, if I told him I'm in the tribulation transcending realm, it would probably kill him instantly. After thinking for a while, he replied, I'm probably at the great ascension realm. The heavenly immortal trembled with anger. How could I lose to a cultivator in the great ascension realm? Han Ju, as if standing in a cold wind, replied, with your confidence, you're only in the 9th layer of the tribulation transcending realm. Why is it impossible for you to lose to someone in the great ascension realm? Suddenly, the heavenly immortal shouted, Guan Yu. Hanju glanced at him, and the heavenly immortal's face turned slightly red. He said, You're the first person to defeat me. But don't get too happy. When I recover, I will defeat you. Ji Tianxin, I was born to become an immortal god. Hanju looked at the heavenly immortal with a foolishly concerned expression and said earnestly, Qi Dao, your talent is truly unmatched. If I hadn't been cultivating for many years, I wouldn't be your opponent. The future cultivation world will undoubtedly belong to prodigies like you. The heavenly immortal snorted, At least you have some insight. He turned and flew away, saying to Hanju, Yun Chang Dao, I'll go find the demon emperor to train my hand. Don't worry, I'll prove you right. Hanju sighed with relief as he watched him leave. That's one lie gone. At that moment, the system notified him, Ji Tianxin has developed a positive impression of you. Current affection level, 2 stars. Hanju paused for a moment upon hearing this, holding his breath. At the Yuqing sacred sect, people were discussing, congratulations to Zhanshan Dao for repelling the strong enemy from the heavenly immortal mansion. Congratulations. Congratulations. Hanju said sternly, this is not something to be happy about. Jioding asked in confusion, Elder Zhanshan, what do you mean? Hanju said, that person is narrow-minded. If his subordinates spread this, it will ruin his reputation, and he will inevitably come back to seek revenge and shame. Dooku was surprised. This situation can't be that serious, right? Xiao Jiao nodded. Elder Zhanshan is right. The heavenly immortal mansion is extremely protective of itself, and it's best to keep today's events confidential. Jioding loudly ordered, rest assured, Elder Zhanshan, I'll go to Elder Feng to lock down the news. Today's events will never be leaked. Everyone immediately shouted, understood. Hanju nodded, that's good. I never thought that one day, I, Han, would also speak reason. Dooku said. Zhanshan Dao, that duel ended so quickly, it must be because that person's skills are inferior to yours. Hanju looked at him, impossible, how could that person compare with the Great Ascension Realm? We don't need to make things big or small, both sides should just maintain their strength. Hanju's nonchalant words left everyone stunned. Jioding asked, Elder Han, could it be that you're already in the Great Ascension Realm? Han Ju shook his head, not yet, I still have some way to go before the Great Ascension Realm, but my foundation is deeper than that person's. Dooku's eyes flickered. I didn't expect such a great person in the small Yuching sacred sect. Looks like I should try to get close. This might be a big opportunity. Hanju was stunned. Is this just my illusion? He looked at the sunlight below. Winter is almost here, but the temperature seems a bit high. Time flew by, and 13 years passed in the blink of an eye. Hanju stood by the cliff of the 8th layer of tribulation transcending realm, looking at the back of Tianxian from the blood flame gate. Years ago, Tianxian had said to Bumia, I'll go investigate the situation of the Yuching sacred sect. If it doesn't conflict with the rules of the blood flame heavenly gate, they won't be destroyed. Bumia had warned, Senior brother. Be careful. I've heard that the Yuching sacred sect has hidden experts with unfathomable strength. Soon after, Tianxian returned covered in wounds and wrapped in ice, saying, we should surrender to the Yuching sacred sect. Bumia stared wide-eyed, oh my god. Kongzi opened his arms as Tianxian said, the Yuching sacred sect has always followed the policy of mutual cooperation. As long as you don't touch the bottom line, you can maintain your traditions. Tianxian and Bumia knelt and said, Sect Master, don't worry, we will definitely uphold the principles of the Yuching sacred sect. As it turned out, joining the Yuching sacred sect wasn't a bad thing. Both in terms of strength and resources, it far surpassed the era of Dawei. All the changes occurred after the name was changed to Yuching sacred sect, rapidly developing under the brilliance of Elder Zhanshin. Tianxian also actively handed out flyers, recruiting talent. Bumia happily welcomed the new recruits. Don't mention the Nine Dragon Gate anymore, it's already full. Join us instead, follow us and you'll live in luxury. Some people murmured as they looked at the flyers, is it true we won't go bald? According to the blood flame heavenly gate's perspective, the overall conditions were improved, and they could retain their name and traditions. Which was a lucky thing. As the original initiator, the decision that seemed cowardly at first eventually stood the test of time and changed the fate of the blood flame heavenly gate. Tianxian's contribution was significant. Tianxian's calm demeanor appeared as he said, I'll go investigate the Demon Dao blood flame heavenly gate branch. Sorry for troubling you all. Time passed quickly, and the tomb of Tianxian appeared. Bumia collapsed to the ground, and the disciples supported him. Boss, stay steady. Bumia kept murmuring, Senior brother, Senior brother. When Tianxian passed away, the system also sent Hanju a notification. Your friend Tianxian has been attacked by a demon cultivator and has died. Hanju spoke in a deep voice, the mortal world is full of turmoil, and the waves are immense. Fellow Taoists, I will walk the path for you. Di Chao stood behind him and asked, Master, what are you doing? He calmly stood up with his hands behind his back. I'm sending off a few deceased Dao friends. Di Chao was stunned. Who has died? Hanju shook his head and looked at the sky. Don't panic. It's just someone unfamiliar. The little girl asked in confusion, if they are unfamiliar, why bow and say goodbye? Hanju replied earnestly, it's a reminder to myself. The path of cultivation is full of danger. Always be cautious and never lose respect. Di Chao pretended to understand and said, Master's words are reasonable. But with you here, we fear nothing. He still wore a serious expression. This world may not have an immortal pill. Everything must depend on one's own efforts. Of course, choosing the right direction is very important. If you don't cultivate diligently, you'll have to start over. Di Chao nodded, then said, Actually, I have a question, but I don't know whether to ask. Hanju permitted, go ahead. Di Chao looked up at the sky and asked, there are 3 suns in the sky, is that normal? Her question left him stunned. Over in the forest, the fusong tree trembled, and shouts were heard, oh no, why is the fusong tree twitching like this? Chang'an and Tiandong desperately tried to hold the tree, with Chang'an groaning, this has never happened like this before, we're almost losing hold. Suddenly, the fusong tree shook, and Chang'an was sent flying like a chicken. Tiandong panicked and shouted, no, Chang'an. Hanju appeared just in time, pointing at Chang'an and chanting, "Quiet." Hanju placed him on the ground and coldly asked everyone, "Answer truthfully, how long has the Fusong tree been shaking?" Tiandong stammered, "This, Brother Ji, he." The wooden chicken trembled and cautiously answered, "It's only been a few days." Hanju asked again, "Only a few days?" Then Hanju's long sharp nose stretched out, poking the wooden chicken's beak, "Little Black, if you lie to me, you'll end up as chicken soup." The wooden chicken broke into a sweat and begged for mercy, "Master, I'm sorry, I really am sorry." He shouted loudly, "How long has it actually been?" The wooden chicken cried. It started shaking before Feng Liang and the others descended the mountain. Hanju angrily shouted, "How many years has it been?" He scolded the wooden chicken until its head was covered in blood. "Little Black, you've caused a huge mess. Tiandong, get ready with 1,000 pounds of ginger and onions." Tiandong immediately responded, "Understood." The wooden chicken begged desperately, "Please don't." A noisy crowd gathered behind them, and one person wearing cool clothes walked up. Hong Quan wore a short blue jacket and skirt, with fashionable sunglasses on, covering her mouth. "No wonder it's getting hotter recently. I thought it was global warming. Turns out it's just two judo. My husband casually caught them, and that's solved, right?" Hanju turned and said, "Miss Xing, this isn't that simple. Do you know what kind of divine beast the sun is?" Hong Quan widened her mouth. "Ah, the sun is also a divine beast?" The wooden chicken behind Han Ju had tears in its eyes, nibbling on Tiandong's head. "Kid, you." Tiandong held a red board with a chicken menu on it, including fried chicken breast, braised chicken wings, and golden roasted chicken. At this moment, someone responded to Hanju, "The Jinwu sun is not just a divine beast, it's a top-tier divine beast, feeding on dragons and phoenixes." Shi Quan appeared holding an umbrella, dressed similarly to Hong Quan in a cool manner, saying, "The three-legged Jinwu." She began to explain, "There have been rumors since ancient times that the sun's extreme heat could instantly destroy the entire world, sending an era to its end. This disaster is called the 3 days in the sky." Hanju and the others looked up at Shi Quan, their eyes filled with fear as they muttered, "The Jinwu feeds on dragons and phoenixes." Hong Quan spoke, "Wait a moment, but it seems that apart from the sunlight being slightly brighter than before, the temperature between heaven and earth hasn't risen yet." Hanju glanced at the special fruit in their hands, stunned, and blurted out, "Then why can't the gods descend at will? The Jinwu devours dragons and phoenixes. This should be a celestial realm in a novel, and it looks like it can't come down." Hanju explained to Hong Quan, "It should be blocked by the barriers of the mortal world, so its power cannot descend for now." She asked in confusion, "Then how did the Judo descend earlier?" Hanju replied, "At that time, its cultivation was only in the combined body realm, so it might not have attracted attention, which is why it was let out." Hong Quan murmured, "It sounds like the higher realm just turned a blind eye?" Muji exclaimed, "Really? Does that mean I won't be turned into chicken soup?" Hanju immediately scolded loudly, "Still trusting your luck? If the Jinwu really descends, I'll tear your wings off." Muji shouted, "Master, save me." Hong Quan spoke, "If it doesn't affect the mortal world, then don't worry about it." Shi and Shi Quan walked over to Muji. Hong Quan hugged it and angrily said to Hanju, "Little Black is still a child, why are you arguing with it?" Hanju was so angry his nose seemed to grow, "If I don't discipline it strictly, who knows what trouble it will cause next time." Just as they were arguing, someone interrupted, "Han Elder, don't rush to discipline your pet. There's a matter in the sect that needs your attention." Hanju turned around, I wonder what's going on with Elder Chang's visit today." Jioding, wearing a vest and fanning himself, said, "Han Elder, the heavenly immortal mansion has called upon all righteous sects to mobilize and attack the Demon Dao dynasty. The righteous sects around Dian are preparing, and the messenger is already in the main hall. We dare not act without your orders, we beg you to make a decision." Hanju was surprised. Did they queue up so quickly? He thought to himself, "How long have I been in seclusion? It's so hot now? Hanju looked up at the sky. Now it's Diane's turn? They're probably observing the movements of our Yuqing sacred sect. If we don't participate, we might be seen as part of the demon Tao. Shi Quan replied, it's likely because of the 3 days in the sky phenomenon. The outside world thinks it's caused by the demon Tao, so all forces are anxious. Hanju raised his hand and reached into his clothes. The Yuqing sect is in a development phase and can't bear such a heavy responsibility for now. But we understand one principle: those who have attained the Tao help others, while those who have lost the Tao are abandoned. Our sect has decided to send 10,000 cultivators to the front lines. He took out a token and said to Jioding, please have Elder Chang lead the team. Also, add the Blood Flame Skygate. They haven't repaid the Qing Yuan, and next, I'll personally guard the rear. Jioding immediately clasped his hands in respect and decisively said, with Han Elder guarding, I am at ease. I'll go issue the orders right away. Hanju nodded, make sure to return safely. Suddenly, a voice came from behind, I'll go too. Shi Quan, holding an umbrella, calmly said, I'm a core elder, and I'm the master of the 18 peaks of Yuqing. I can't shift the responsibility to others. Hong Quan beside her also spoke, I'm going too. Hanju stared, you too? Hanju quickly asked, Master, aren't you in seclusion? Shi Quan shook her head, seclusion can start any time. It's only when dealing with demons that seclusion isn't allowed. Hong Quan also loudly expressed, I was once threatened by the demon Tao, which made me an inner traitor. Now I have the chance to fight against the demon Tao, I don't want to miss it. Hanju was silent for a moment after hearing both of them. After a while, he turned to them and said, all right, but you must bring this. Everyone's Tianji bones must be replaced with new ones as soon as possible. An armor appeared, and Hanju's voice sounded, it's in its true form. And add an iron leg armor, it's in a complete state. There was even a moon-like sailor hat, Tianji bones. A complete figure appeared, wearing both armor and carrying a shield and spear. This sight almost made Hong Quan lose her temper, that's not the point. Shi Quan stood nearby, holding onto her skirt to stop her from going crazy, while Hanju was very satisfied, darling. There wasn't enough time for engraving and painting, so this will have to do. Hanju instructed Jioding, please take good care of the master and Tao companion. Jioding responded with a loud voice, rest assured, Elder Han. Watching them leave, Mukai leaned in and asked Hanju, Master, why do I feel like you're the sect leader? Hanju glared at him and said, stop talking nonsense, you think I'll let you off just because we changed the subject? He coldly said, starting today, you're not allowed to fish anymore. Live the rest of your life in mourning clothes. Mukai howled in pain, no, without me, the army can't function. Tiandong, standing nearby, interjected. By the way, didn't Brother Kai used to fish? Chang'an also chimed in, who is the one who buys the most fish from the market? Don't you know? Mukai was so angry he almost cried, you guys. Hanju pondered, with the heavenly immortal mansion leading the righteous path, Kai Niha, your life might not need me to collect it. On the demon Tao side, Niha stared forward with 4 eyes, Suchi. He hovered in the air, looking down at Suchi kneeling below. It's been over 60 years, and more than 5,000 elites have died mysteriously, even losing a Grand Master. The invasion plan was once forced to stop. Investigating further, all the evidence points to the team you're with. You can't pretend you don't know anymore. Still daring to assassinate me? Niha's voice echoed, why betray me? Was it arranged by the Demon Lord? Speak the truth. But Suchi remained silent. Tianggo, standing beside him, worriedly said, Suchi, why didn't you consult first? Although I give it my all, I'm no match for the Demon Emperor. You're looking for death. How can you maintain the situation? It anxiously glanced at Niha. Your Majesty, of course, it's the traitor Demon Lord who forced Suchi. Look. But Suchi suddenly interrupted, what does the Demon Lord have to do with this? The gloomy-faced young man spoke, Suchi, I'm a righteous cultivator. How could I side with the demon Dao? If you want to kill me, just do it. He thought to himself, the demon emperor is nothing. My master will definitely come to save me. Tiango almost cried, don't move, don't move. Neha was silent for a moment before saying, since that's the case, Tiango, eat him. This made Tiango almost lose his soul. Wait, Your Majesty, I've already gone vegetarian. However, Neha didn't care, his 4 eyes scanning Tiango. Today he lives, you die. Tiango lowered his head, standing in front of Su Qi. It looked at the young man's appearance. Tiango frowned, no, I can't make a move against a fellow disciple. Remembering the past, Su Qi widened his mouth, what? The demon emperor's beloved dog is actually from the same sect? Tiango sat across from him and nodded, yes, Su Qi, I still remember you. Su Qi mumbled, the world is so small, it feels unreal. Tiango said excitedly, it's all fate. I wonder how the master is doing now. After the shock, Su Qi looked at Tiango again, thinking to himself, but you look so different from what I remember. Being in the Demon Dao faction, it's hard not to exclude the possibility that you've been corrupted or disguised to gather information about my master. How can you prove you're from Yuqing sect? Tiango loudly swore, I swear by the life of He Mu Kai, I'm truly the pet of the Zhongshan elder. Su Qi disagreed, if you investigate Yuqing sect, you'll see these names aren't enough to prove you're one of us. Tiango continued, the most famous specialties of Yuqing sect are hot and sour soup, chicken feet, and snow ice snails. Su Qi still didn't accept it, since you're talking about the most famous, you can't use that as proof. Tiango continued, remember our territory? Back then, we hadn't named it yet. It was only after you left that it was named Bitter Cultivation to Immortality Mountain. Su Qi shook his head, bitter cultivation to Immortality Mountain? Sorry, I've never heard of it. Tiango's voice grew louder. Master, I am the most handsome in the world. The young man denied, this is officially certified, but it doesn't prove anything. Tiango despaired, then what should I do? Su Qi stroked his chin and thought, I've come up with a simple way to prove you're from my sect. Tiango immediately conjured up a nose and Hanju's clothes, then asked desperately, it's not this, right? Su Qi excitedly said, yes, yes. This is it. You really are one of us. You look just like Master. Tiango said, I want to take back what I said about being the most handsome. The young man said to him, it seems you haven't been corrupted. That's a relief. So, how come you stayed here for so many years without returning? Tiango looked troubled, well, people outside aren't doing well. There are too many untold hardships. Su Qi asked, you can't serve the enemy, and you must want to go home, right? Tiango hesitated and said, I. Su Qi continued urging, do you want to go home, be famous, and make Master happy? Seeing Tiango not answering, Su Qi continued, it's fine, you see, I'm not conspicuous, and it won't affect going home to see Master. After all these years, if I say I don't care, that's impossible. Moreover, Master doesn't want us to fight. He only wants us to return safely. The task Master entrusted to me has long been completed. I no longer have any desires. I just want to return to his side and continue cultivating in hardship. Tiango said, so you mean? Su Qi smiled and was about to give Tiango a high five, our hearts are still in Yuqing sect, right? So let's hope to leave here soon, and not let the waiting become regret. Tiango's eyes shone brightly. It high-fived Su Qi, saying, let's go home together. To live, we must return to our roots. Awakening from the memory, Tiango tightly shut its eyes, feeling dejected, but I've died once before. If I die again, it will truly be the end of me. Sorry, Master, I'm too useless, I couldn't even protect my fellow disciple. Neha stood behind, frowning, what, are you staying until New Year? Hurry up. Tiango immediately extended its sharp claws. It shouted loudly, Suchi, I'm sorry. Go back and tell the master, the chaos Tian-go, do not surrender. Tian-go seemed to transform into another form. It turned and said, if there's a next life, I will stay by your side, protecting you, never abandoning you. Neha sneered, how touching. How many people know that in the end, only by submitting can one survive? Suchi stared blankly and looked up, no, don't. Tian-go rushed toward Neha like flying, I'm going first today. Demon Emperor, die. This saint, will end you. Neha coldly said, you foolish dog, unaware of death. Suddenly, there was a loud boom, and smoke soared into the sky. Tian-go was knocked flying. Suchi shouted, dog. Neha stood calmly and said, actually, I've known all along that your master is Hanju. When you were resurrected, I had seen your memories. My intuition told me he would be a major threat to the revival plan. Neha frowned and showed a regretful expression, your loyalty, I'm glad and disappointed. Wait obediently, I will send him to meet you soon. Tian-go lay quietly there. Suchi's eyes widened, tears almost spilling over. The young boy's eyes suddenly shot out two beams of light. His body seemed to have a powerful spiritual force trying to break through. Hundreds and thousands of spiritual lights burst forth, red like the flowers of the other shore. He was startled, this power, could it be? The heavenly god appeared, smiling as he looked back, finally, I've found you. The heavenly god stood proudly in the blazing fire, mocking, even Li Chiu-mo's fourth level of the great Ascension realm couldn't defeat me, what do you count as? Neha loudly interrupted, how can you, at the ninth level of the tribulation crossing realm, possibly kill someone at the great Ascension realm? The heavenly god smirked, still far from it, Neha, die now. Neha nervously furrowed his brows. The heavenly god's eyes lit up, and a strong light burst out, causing a tremor in the air. The rooster cried in grievance, sitting in a hole in the tree, with a line of text posted, locked up. Below, Tian-dong's voice came, Master, the black-eyed rooster has returned to live in the tree, and the tree of Tang is much more settled now. Chang'an was puzzled, why haven't those two golden crows left yet? Hanju shook his head, it's easy to invite the gods, but hard to send them away. Tian-dong put his hands on his hips, it's so far, there's nothing to be done. I heard the righteous and demonic paths stopped fighting for a few days because of this. Suddenly, Hanju shuddered, remembering something, the gods are here, we can ask my old brother. He said to the three, Chao, Chang'an, and Tian-dong, Master has a method, don't get too close to me for now. The three were confused, huh? Meanwhile, in a certain place, the battle between righteous and demonic forces was raging. A sword was suddenly struck out of someone's hand. Another person had their sword slip out of their hand. The righteous and demonic forces paused, looking up at the sky as thousands of swords flew into the sky. The eternal sword path, how could someone have comprehended it? My God, they really know how to pick their moments. The righteous stood below, speechless, can't you stop? Let us finish our fight first, before you comprehend it. Now look, how are we supposed to fight without swords? We were defeated this way last time. The demon cultivators laughed excitedly, mocking them, it seems the eternal sword path isn't close to sword cultivators anymore. Only accepting swords and not knives. But we have more than just knives, we have axes and hooks. Let's see how you deal with that. Seeking the sword nodded, makes sense. We were at a disadvantage last time, this time, we must be prepared. After saying that, the righteous pulled out a large number of long spears, standing there. Who knew sword cultivators also practiced with spears? Everyone knows long weapons counter short ones, let's see how you handle this. The demon cultivators immediately fell silent. Hundreds and thousands of swords flew into the sky, gathering into a large mass, like a giant crystal. When the man, standing in the form of divine consciousness, looked at the massive crystal, he heard a voice calling, Senior. He turned around, Senior. Hanju appeared behind him with shining eyes, asking, Senior, do you know about the golden crows? The man immediately became displeased, you specifically comprehended the sword path just to ask me about the golden crows? Hanju quickly explained, of course not. I like the sword path, and luckily I comprehended it. I was just casually asking, Senior. The man, wearing an ancient helmet, turned around. Since you're here, you can treat the sword path as your backyard for all these years. This is the first time I'm seeing it. Leave soon. Sooner or later, you will go there. I will explain it to you. He reached out and created 2 small spheres. The golden crows are ancient divine beasts, divided into mortal golden crows and divine golden crows. His voice was flat. The mortal golden crow is the son of the mortal realm, never able to leave the mortal realm, and its cultivation cannot increase. The divine golden crow is a divine race from the heavenly realm, with a profound background. The heavenly palace and the demon palace both dare not act against it. Hanju looked up at the image the man created, thinking, the mortal golden crows cannot leave. So, there must be only 2 suns in the sky, which are likely divine golden crows. He asked the man, Senior, can the divine golden crows enter the mortal realm? The man shook his head, of course not. The true sunfire is on them and could destroy the mortal realm. The heavenly rules strictly forbid them from descending to the mortal world. Suddenly, the man thought of something. Wait, you're asking this, could it be? He extended his hand and drew a long line, locating the red cloud realm. I almost forgot. The divine golden crows have been fighting among themselves these years. A bright sky suddenly unfolded before them, and he murmured, if this is really the case, something as significant as the red cloud should have been reported. Hanju pondered, red cloud. When he clearly saw the scene in front of him, with 3 suns, the man asked Hanju, oh, no, why are there 2 golden crows in the mortal world? Though they are just young golden crows. Hanju retorted, Senior, are young golden crows strong? He stroked his chin, not strong. He looked up and thought, I saw that they had just been born, and their cultivation is only at the Great Ascension stage. Hanju was stunned upon hearing this. They've just been born and are already at the Great Ascension stage? Hanju loudly told the man, why isn't the Golden Crow clan teaching them? If they enter the mortal world, it would be a huge disaster for ordinary people. The man shrugged in confusion. Who knows, after all, the Golden Crow clan's internal affairs are very complicated, and the outside world can't easily interfere. He turned his face away, and my duty is to protect the Sword Dao. Other matters have nothing to do with me. I haven't seen anything, so don't expect me to help you. Hanju remained silent. He stood there. Forget about relying on others, it's better to rely on yourself. You still need to quickly break through to the 9th heavenly tribulation stage. Hanju looked at the massive crystal formed from swords and made up his mind, I must avoid even those 2 little guys beating me. A beam of light shot into the sky, and the Xianhuang sword chi officially upgraded to the Tai divine ability. The rooster sat on the tree, watching the light beam, worried, remember to fish on the 3rd day. Time passed, the sky grew darker, the moon rose, Li Qiuemo bravely sacrificed himself, and the demon emperor was forced to retreat. The remaining demons were all massive in size. The green one was the demon Lacan, at the 3rd level of the Great Ascension. The white-haired, red-eyed woman was the white-haired demoness, at the 3rd level of the Great Ascension. The man who seemed more experienced was the blood demon ancestor, at the 5th level of the Great Ascension. The rest were the emotional army demon lord, at the 8th level of the Great Ascension. The blood demon ancestor said, I don't know why the demon emperor's recovery speed is getting slower. He says he is often backfired by the demonic energy inside his body. In my opinion, he's definitely being affected by something outside. It's not a solution to keep entangling with him. The Lacan nodded, yes, there's no point in sustaining this. They looked at the vacant space where Qiuemo was and said, who would have thought the new generation of the Celestial Immortal Mansion would be so powerful, especially Ji Xianshan. He's probably already surpassed the scope of geniuses. The blood demon ancestor continued, the cultivation at the 9th heavenly tribulation stage can actually kill someone at the 4th level of the Great Ascension. If he breaks through to the Great Ascension stage, wouldn't he be invincible? He thought deeply, even if we join forces, we might not be able to defeat him. Moreover, as we all know, from his birth until now, he has experienced countless battles and accumulated enough experience. Once he hits the Great Ascension stage, we won't have time to delay. The Blood Demon Ancestor asked the Emotional Army Demon Lord, are you confident in dealing with Ji Xianxin? She rested her chin on her hand. I am, but they want me to remain neutral. After all, a strike from someone at the 8th level of the Great Ascension would destroy the heavens and earth. Whether the righteous path has left a way out is still unclear. I can't act freely before they do. He frowned. We can't keep waiting. Ji Xianxin is too strong. We must kill him before he grows, or the righteous path's momentum will become too strong. The demoness crossed her arms and said loudly, why doesn't the ancestor act? Apart from her, you're the strongest among us. The Lacan nodded. Yes, ancestor, it's better to take action and deal with that kid quickly. The Blood Demon Ancestor trembled with anger. You all just wait here, leaving the dirty and tiring work to me. The Emotional Army Demon Lord then said, in the grand scheme of things, Ji Xianxin won't be able to stir up any waves in the short term. Let's put him aside for now. But what about the 2 golden crows appearing in the mortal world? What do you think this signifies? The others fell silent in unison. The demoness asked, the demons in the mortal world can't gain the attention of the heavenly Tao. Do you think the heavenly Tao is about to intervene? The Blood Demon Ancestor looked at the Emotional Army Demon Lord. How about you go to the underworld again and ask the demon clan about this matter? If the heavenly Tao is really going to act, it will be easier for us to escape. She stood up. No problem. The Emotional Army pointed ahead, and immediately several beams of light spun, forming a black hole. She asked the Blood Demon Ancestor, but I'll be gone for decades. Can you stabilize the situation? The demoness shrugged. Of course, Demon Lord, you can go with peace of mind. The Emotional Army jumped into the black hole. I just hope so. The light spots instantly disappeared in front of the 3 people. The Blood Demon Ancestor asked, how is the collection for the grand ritual going? The demoness replied, it's almost done. He nodded. That's good. Whether the demon path can unify the world depends on this grand ritual. 11 years later, the system reminded in the notification bar, it has been detected that you are now years old and have entered a new phase. You have 2 choices. 1. Leave the seclusion immediately. 2. Slay demons and gain fame across the world, and you will receive a spiritual treasure. 2. Continue your cultivation, stay away from the mortal world, and attempt to break through to the Great Ascension stage. And you will receive a spiritual treasure and a bottle of random pills. Hanju coldly said, as usual. The system sent another notification. You chose to continue your cultivation and attempt to break through to the Great Ascension stage. You will receive a spiritual treasure and a bottle of random pills. The system also provided details about the items. The Giant Spirit Egg Protector Spiritual Treasure, 5th grade Tai, can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to improve stamina in battle. The system reported again, congratulations, you have received a bottle of Great Ascension Soul Elixir. The information panel says, the Great Ascension Soul Elixir is a pill used by Great Ascension cultivators to strengthen their souls. Hanju, currently at the 9th stage of the Great Tribulation, his eyes shining, took the items. Another Tai spiritual treasure. Nice, nice. He put down the cake, which was smoking, and turned to look at the notification bar. I haven't checked my friend list in a long time. The notification bar displayed a long text. Your friend Huang Jihao encountered a demonic cultivator. Attack X6782, your divine pet, the Chaos Celestial Dog, was attacked by a demonic cultivator, severely wounded but saved by a powerful being. Your disciple Suchi has fallen into the demon path, and their power is uncontrollable, causing disaster within 1,000 miles. Your grandson Feng Liang encountered a demonic cultivator. Attack X12004, your friend Ji Tianxin encountered a demonic cultivator. Attack X11982, Your soulmate Xian Qingjun has left the mortal realm. Your friend Mark Zhu has entered an ancient forbidden land, his fate unknown, his fortune reversed, and the demonic cultivators have greatly enhanced his soul. Your friend Jiu Dingjinren encountered a demonic cultivator attack X9877. After reading this, Hanju immediately panicked. Suchi has fallen into the demon path. He brought the notification bar closer, and the Chaos Celestial Dog. These two are really unfortunate. The demon path is truly powerful, clearly. The number of people supporting and joining the demon path is still far less than 1/3 of the righteous path. But the battle between the righteous and demonic paths has lasted for nearly 100 years. The righteous path can still sustain itself, but where does the demon path get its reinforcements? Hanju frowned. Something feels off. It's good that I didn't get involved, or I'd have been stuck in this damned war, forced to stop cultivating. He looked up at the three suns in the sky. The continuous conflict between the righteous and demonic paths is one thing. But are these two things in this world really so stubborn? The cultivation world is getting more and more chaotic. He turned back and looked at the 9th stage of Yuaning at the east sky. The 9th stage of Yuaning at Zun Chang'an. The 9th stage of Yuaning at Wudao Sword. Only the black-eyed rooster, in the sleeping void realm's 7th stage, Hanju sighed. If they have the energy to fight, they might as well be diligent in cultivation like my little disciple. Hanju turned back to the notification bar, opened Fang Liang's information. Fang Liang, 9th stage of Yuan. Ing. Looking at the notification bar in front of him, he couldn't help but think, wait a minute, Fang Liang is also one step away from reaching the divine transformation stage. Amazing, no wonder he's the son of heaven and earth, almost catching up with little Suchi. Suchi is already at the 6th stage of divine transformation, and is now the strongest disciple in the sect. Next, it will be Fang Liang. The master is paying attention to you. In a cave, Fang Liang curled up in a fetal posture, surrounded by a circle of golden light. The golden sphere emitted countless energies. Suddenly, Fang Liang shouted loudly. A powerful energy erupted immediately, soaring into the sky, releasing a shockwave that blew everything around him away. Suddenly, a hand was raised. Fang Liang looked at his hand, where a golden lotus was floating in the air. At that moment, Hanju's notification bar also changed, and Fang Liang's information was updated to the 1st stage of divine transformation. Hanju was surprised. I just mentioned it, and the child has broken through. Suddenly, Hanju sensed something, and turned around. A dazzling golden light shone from the sky, and small golden leaves gently floated down. Seeing the scene before him, Hanju was astonished. This is the fortune golden lotus. The golden leaves flew in the air, illuminating all directions. The face of the Son of Heaven and Earth is indeed great. The residents of the city were all surprised when they saw this scene. Containing a rather powerful killing aura, it is beneficial for cultivation, especially during the critical moments of breakthrough. At this moment, Zun Chang'an and Tiandong also opened their eyes in surprise, and their bodies began to change. The two immediately generated 2 beams of light, soaring into the sky, achieving the divine transformation. Hanju smiled and said, "These kids are really lucky. Fang Liang is leading them up to the next stage." The sky suddenly turned gloomy, with dark clouds gathering. Hanju thought, but if they directly cross the tribulation here, they should succeed in cultivating the immortal mountain and achieve a smooth breakthrough. He stroked his chin and thought, also, no one can be nearby during the tribulation. Firstly, it will not affect others, but it will also increase the power of the tribulation. And the power depends on their cultivation level. This double pressure exceeds everyone's limits. In this situation, the chances of successfully crossing the tribulation and surviving are almost zero. They must be quickly separated and moved to the east and west directions, and the tribulation must be completed before it fully forms. Let's proceed this way. At this moment, a leaf suddenly floated in front of Hanju, catching his attention. The leaf then gently touched his shoulder, as if merging into Hanju's body. In an instant, a surge of energy erupted. Hanju was shocked and said, "The spiritual power is overwhelming. Did I suddenly break through because of that kid, Feng Liang? I originally planned to stabilize for a while before attempting the Great Ascension." This energy was so powerful that Hanju couldn't control it. "This is bad. I haven't even left thee. If it continues like this, Yuling's sacred sect will probably be forced into a meditative state, and the tribulation at the Great Ascension level will surely level the entire sect." Hanju stood there, his eyes wide open, as if struck by lightning. Suddenly, he found himself in an empty void. Hanju curiously asked, "Where is this?" At this moment, the system sent a reminder notification explaining, "This is the tribulation space. Due to the destructive power of the Great Ascension tribulation, a separate space has been set up for those attempting to break through to the Great Ascension to complete their tribulation." Hanju was surprised. Such treatment for the Great Ascension stage? He looked at the system and thought, it makes sense, though. When I was breaking through the tribulation stage earlier, the tribulation was so terrifying that even grass didn't grow in the area. It seems there's no place that can accommodate a Great Ascension tribulation. Well, it's a bit sudden, but as long as it doesn't affect Yuling sacred sect, it's fine. I'm just a little worried about my disciples. Tiandong and Zun Chang'an should be aware of the tribulation rules and must have already risen and headed toward the 10,000 demon realm. Hanju smiled and said, "Now I can safely attempt the Great Ascension." The system sent another reminder, "If there are others outside who are ready to undergo the tribulation, they will also be brought into the tribulation space." As soon as the system finished speaking, Hanju saw Tiandong and Zun Chang'an standing before him. The three of them were immediately shocked. Hanju exclaimed, "You're organizing the tribulation?" Hanju shouted loudly, scaring both of them to shrink back, "How did you get in?" Zun Chang'an stammered, "I don't know, we just entered a meditative state and suddenly we were here." Tiandong also said, "I didn't realize, Master, are you also undergoing the tribulation?" Hanju nodded. Both of them were shocked. "Does that mean Master has reached the Great Ascension?" Hanju said, "Let's figure out how to leave here first." As soon as he finished speaking, the three of them felt a tremor. Tiandong, sweating profusely, said, "Oh no, the tribulation is coming, we can't leave now." Zun Chang'an trembled and said, "Two people at the divine transformation stage are already enough for the tribulation, and now with Master's power added." Hanju observed for a moment and said, "It seems the threat isn't that great, it's not as serious as we imagined." Dark clouds rolled in the sky, with lightning flashing. However, it suddenly flashed and then disappeared. Tiandong exclaimed, "The tribulation has been dispelled?" Zun Chang'an asked in confusion, "Does that mean it's over?" Hanju, however, whispered, "A bad omen." Sure enough, the clouds in the sky transformed into a completely different scene, with a massive structure, resembling a mountain, standing before them. Tiandong fearfully said, "Is this Master's tribulation?" Hanju nodded, "Yes, it's definitely been suppressed by it." Zun Chang'an looked up and asked, "No, could it be that we have to endure this together?" A huge lightning bolt struck them like a pillar of heaven, and the three of them were terrified, their faces filled with panic. Then, with sweat on his face, Anren said, "Did I see it wrong just now? The diameter of this lightning seems to be over 1,000 meters." Tiandong despaired, "Do we just take it head-on?" The next moment, screams immediately echoed through the space, "Damn, get out of the way, it hurts so much. Why is there a shield, how do we run, what's going on, is there really no way to survive this Great Ascension? Tribulation?" Hanju said to the two disciples who were disfigured by the strike, "Crossing the tribulation requires enduring, so you can't avoid it. The space is large, but the actual range is like a mat. If it were a normal time, or if you were in the foundation establishment stage, I could block the tribulation to let you retreat safely, but now even if immortals came, they wouldn't be able to do anything." Tiandong cried out, "Master." Hanju thought anxiously, there are only two ways to escape the tribulation space either to endure until the end or to die. With the current intensity, I can hold up against 7 or 8 waves of attacks with my Tai defense. But the tribulation must be fought for 3 months. Though I can withstand it all, my disciples. Tiandong said, I remember there was a book that described a method for crossing the tribulation. It felt very reliable because only the ones who survived could write books. Zun Chang'an exclaimed, there are other experts, quickly tell us what method it is. Tiandong slowly said, first, do this, then finally do this. He sat down, holding his head, it guarantees everyone's safe passage. Hanju angrily pointed at Tiandong's face, enduring the tribulation by holding your head and crouching down, doesn't this just mean dying with dignity? Honestly, was that book written by a bunch of cultivation enthusiasts? Tiandong insisted, the book is untitled, but the author is a hidden master in the cultivation world, very famous. I think the book is quite good, it not only covers daily precautions but also teaches knife cultivation techniques. And the single-use flying sword is also nice. Hanju was speechless, what kind of nonsense is this? Yang Tian sect added, all the major sects put railings on flying swords to prevent fear of heights, it indeed came from this book. And it's quite practical. The single-use flying sword might just take us out of this space, but the materials are long gone. Kaigu really took care of this book, I'm not promoting it. Hanju shouted, let's survive first. After a long time, Tiandong softly asked, how long has it been? Zun Chang'an answered, about 1 or 2 months. Then a long period of silence followed. Tiandong stood in the tribulation and said, I wonder if the tribulation will be quicker, why has it not struck us yet? The lightning is so big, but the accuracy is still off, it's almost like a sword hanging over our heads. Zun Chang'an said, maybe the tribulation hasn't found us yet? Hanju nodded, it must be intentional, it's brewing a big wave. Tiandong and Zun Chang'an sighed, and Hanju explained, that's how the tribulation works, after having some fun, it strikes again. Tiandong asked, Master, aren't you panicking? Hanju crouched down, holding his head helplessly, and answered, what's the use of panicking? Though we have no solution, the anonymous senior who survived and wrote the book must have his reasons. Tiandong whispered, yes. At this moment, Tiandi Grass appeared behind the 3 of them and asked, what is your master doing? Hanju, holding his head with a troubled face, said, he's crossing the tribulation, don't disturb us. The little girl nodded, I see, then I'll go fishing by myself. This sentence startled Hanju, Tiandong, and Zun Chang'an. They looked up and scanned their surroundings. Where is the tribulation? Where did the space go? How did it suddenly disappear? Hanju said, Chang'an, you leveled up, did the tribulation end? Zun Chang'an and Tiandong cried and hugged each other. Hanju looked up at the sky, 3 suns are indeed from the real world, but why has the big wave of the tribulation not come yet and ended? At this moment, Tiandi Grass took out a purple ball and said to Hanju, I found this while doing housework last time, probably something master forgot long ago. The little girl mischievously blinked, I didn't understand anything before, but now I'll give it a try. But really? Don't say I'm using it for cultivation, it feels like the speed has slightly increased, master must really need this. After saying this, Tiandi Grass happily hugged her fishing tools and left, leaving the stone behind. Hanju looked at the stone in front of him, comprehension stone. He seemed to realize something, his expression tense, this stone appeared just as the tribulation was lifted, could it be used for comprehension? Does this stone help avoid tribulation? From a jumble of thoughts, Hanju suddenly had an epiphany, I remember now, this stone can help immortals remain in the mortal realm without being restricted by heavenly rules, and now it can avoid the tribulation. Does it not have the ability to conceal the heavenly path? Wait, calm down. Hanju calmed himself and slowly thought, the Great Ascension stage is the highest cultivation level that the mortal realm can endure. After reaching the 9th level of the Great Ascension, one is forced to ascend. This is why records about the 9th level of the Great Ascension are rare. If I have this thing, could I avoid the forced ascension by the heavenly path? Hanju showed a smug expression as he picked up the comprehension stone. Can I remain in the mortal realm forever? At the same time, Hanju successfully advanced to the Great Ascension stage. The system sent a notification. Congratulations on breaking through to the Great Ascension stage. You have two choices. 1 is to immediately ascend and leave the mortal realm, gaining a divine power inheritance, a heavenly Tao spiritual stone, and a spiritual treasure. The other is to continue cultivating, temporarily not ascending, and gain a spiritual treasure. Hanju frowned as he looked at the system's notification. The system was tempting him to ascend. He crossed his arms and said seriously to the system, after being with you for so many years, I know your temperament. Without the cultivation of Tai Earth Immortal, how can I fight Juke? Hanju chose the second option to continue cultivating in the mortal realm. The system page displayed, this is indeed the better choice. The system sent a notification, you chose to continue cultivating, temporarily not ascending, and gained a spiritual treasure. Congratulations, you received the Tai spiritual treasure, the Imperial Dragon Chi Bridge. Hanju's eyes lit up. Looking at the golden, smooth object in front of him, Hanju exclaimed, the Yellow Dragon Chi Bridge spiritual treasure, a second grade Tai magical item mount that can withstand a full strike from a loose immortal. The surface craftsmanship is perfect. He then looked at the wheel coiled into the shape of a dragon, with 4 golden dragons bearing the weight. Hanju excitedly looked at the shiny golden car in front of him, it can withstand a full strike from a loose immortal. This is really a good item. Hanju turned his head and said, next is the situation. It's just in time for a level up, let's try this. The simulated trial began again, and Xian Qingjun said, finally, you've reached Great Ascension. Hanju replied, and called to her, give it your all, don't hold back. Xian Qingjun was currently at the 8th level of the Great Ascension stage. She nodded and agreed with Hanju, as you wish. The trial field announced, the trial begins. Immediately, layers of whirlwinds began to rise behind Xian Qingjun. The storm tore apart the earth. Hundreds and thousands of souls surged toward Hanju from unknown sources. He stood there, looking at the situation in front of him, and sighed, is this the power of the 8th level of the Great Ascension? Hanju calmly raised a finger, heaven and earth, Xianhuang breaking realm sword finger. Hanju's finger directly blew everything away, ending all the simulated trials. Time stopped for 2 seconds. Hanju placed his hands behind his back, swinging his robes as he walked proudly, even the Yellow Dragon Chi Bridge is useless. There shouldn't be many people in the mortal realm who can kill me now. Hanju jumped onto his golden, smooth car and left the simulated trial field, gradually disappearing. Right, I need to go to the original place, just a few more steps. In the Sword Dao River, Zhang Guxing was lying on a resting chair. The man suddenly noticed something. He quickly stood up and saw Hanju walking toward him excitedly. He shouted, kid, how did you come again? Using the same divine power to level up multiple times, how interesting. Why don't you focus on cultivation and improve your cultivation level? Hanju sighed, Senior, I can't casually agree with what you said. There is no one in the mortal realm who cultivates harder than I do. The man was suddenly stunned, you? He asked Hanju. How many years has it been since you ascended to the Great Ascension? Hanju cupped his hands. I'm not talented, I only like hard cultivation. This time, please step aside, I want to see how far I can go. The person guarding the Sword Dao River thought, this kid not only has outstanding swordsmanship talent, but his cultivation talent is also terrifying. Without the foundation and background of his past life, how could he achieve such results? It's really strange, too strange. He watched Hanju's back, I don't know why, but he seems different from before. It looks like he is no longer immortal. Zhang Guxing opened one eye and looked at Hanju from his hair, with this talent and temperament, if placed in that position. He should be a genius among geniuses at the same cultivation level. It's a pity he was born in the mortal realm. After a while, he shouted at Hanju, who was walking with his head down, you're walking in the wrong direction, it's over there. Hanju quickly turned around and ran over. Thank you. Outside, on a protruding rock of a high mountain, someone was sitting and playing a flute. It was Ji Tianshan. The Chaos Heavenly Orb emerged from a cave and asked him, Senior, can Suchi really recover from going astray? Ji Tianshan replied, Don't worry. Looking at Suchi, who was soaking in a large pot of hot medicinal liquid, Ji Tianshan explained, he went astray because he couldn't control the power within him. The Chaos Heavenly Dog asked, How long will it take for him to recover? Ji Tianshan lowered his head, his face showing concern. He, like me, was born extraordinary, with immense power beyond that of ordinary people. It's not easy for him to die. Ji Tianshan calmly said, There are divine medicines from the heavenly immortal mansion. He'll recover soon. As you know, the heavenly immortal mansion is not only powerful, but also has superb alchemy techniques. Although it may not look like much on the surface, the system and logistics are exactly why the heavenly immortal mansion dominates the world. Ji Tianshan smiled at the Chaos Heavenly Dog and said, Actually, we people from the heavenly immortal mansion really like soup. If there's a chance, I can invite you to try my signature Tianqing water snake soup. The taste is unbeatable. The Chaos Heavenly Dog paused for a moment after hearing this, then changed the topic. It pointed at Suchi, who was soaking in the pot, and said, boiling on the fire, Why does he seem like he's almost done? Ji Tianshan sniffed, nodded, and said, It really smells like a meat soup, looks like it needs to simmer a bit longer. 1 second later, he immediately shouted angrily at the Chaos Heavenly Dog, Who told you to add more firewood? We should turn off the fire now and use the remaining heat to clear the meridians, not simmer it. Quickly pull him out. Ji Tianshan suddenly felt a bit surprised. He looked down at the sword in his hand, which was trembling violently. Wait, what just happened? Ji Tianshan turned his head to look in the distance, toward the origin of the Sword Dao River, seemingly in Great Yen. Ji Tianshan thought to himself, Yuqing Holy Sect, could it be him? Does he really have extraordinary power? Did he break through the Sword Dao again? I can't beat him head-on in swordsmanship, I'm no match for him. With this thought, he left behind a sentence, I'll be back soon. The Chaos Heavenly Dog was busy pulling Suchi out of the water pot and asked, Senior, where are you going? Ji Tianshan sighed and said, I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to kill a demon sect member to vent. The Chaos Heavenly Dog was speechless. He really was a cold-blooded person, thinking of returning to Great Yen. It turned around and looked at the now fully cooked Suchi. Why not take this opportunity to bring this kid back to Great Yen? That person is eager to kill the demon cultivator, he probably won't notice me. But when it thought about Ji Tianshan, it started to ponder, if we return, will that person be angry? The master once killed the Qingmang Great Saint, and may have already broken through to the crossing tribulation stage. But the senior can fight against the Great Ascension stage. He's the one who pushed the demon emperor to the brink. It then stopped, deciding to leave. The Chaos Heavenly Dog thought about Hanju's appearance. If the master and that person fight, I can't even imagine. The Chaos Heavenly Dog muttered in frustration, No, I can't let this cause trouble for the master. It looked up at the sky outside and sighed, and Suchi hasn't fully recovered, let's wait a bit longer. Ji Tianshan walked down the stairs, thinking to himself, Yun Chang, my friend, wait for me. I, Ji Tianshan, was born to achieve the title of the world's greatest. Everyone's mission is to become a stepping stone on my path to immortality, and you are no exception. The chaotic era is the limit of the mortal realm, only the prosperous age will lead to immortality. Ji Tianshan hid behind a large rock and looked at the distant whirlwind. Based on the direction, it seems to be coming this way. Ji Tianshan stepped out and sneered, it's just a tornado. But when he stepped outside, his expression changed immediately. His eyes gradually became sharper as he looked at what was floating above his head. Why are there sharks in the tornado? There were indeed sharks swimming around in the tornado. Light shone through the window. Huang Jihao was tied up, sitting on the side, surrounded by many people. Huang Jihao looked up with a gaze full of contempt and said, as a righteous cultivator, I would never conspire with you scoundrels to do bad things. The other righteous cultivators nearby saw this scene and shouted, our righteous alliance is almost at the San Mo Luohan stage. You won't have much time to keep pretending. San Mo Luohan laughed loudly, huh? Them? He waved his hand, releasing a wave of black magic toward the cultivators, saying, they've already arrived here. Huang Jihao was startled, shaking in fear. When they saw that the person was Guan Wugang, everyone couldn't help but nervously shout, Daoist Guan. The other righteous cultivators, seeing that the people bound were Jioding, Shi Quan, Lu Bumei, and Hong Quan, were shocked and said, why are you with the real Jioding? The story goes back an hour earlier when the Yuqing sacred sect and the great righteous sects entered the imperial city. The demon emperors. Tens of thousands of death warriors were waiting outside the city, and Jioding led over 800 people secretly into the city for reconnaissance. Guan Wugang said, this is the Demon Dao Imperial City, it certainly looks desolate. Jioding whispered back. I've heard that demon cultivators are always crazy, and the demon emperor is too lazy to build a city. They hid behind a collapsed wall to discuss. Guan Wugang asked, then why haven't we seen any signs of demon cultivators? Jioding replied, the intelligence shows they might be to the east or north. Lu Bumei interjected, it's to the east. Someone is killing demon cultivators from the demon sect, and all the demon cultivators in the city have gone there to assist. Jioding stroked his beard and thought, I wonder who the powerful person is who could pull all the demon cultivators out of the imperial city. At that moment, someone reported, there's a problem with the Demon Dao Imperial City. Shi Quan said, earlier, the 4 great righteous sects came with us into the city, but now there's no trace of them. Quietly abandoning allies is not the way of these 4 sections. Xing Hongjue, who was standing nearby, also observed and said, I feel something's wrong. Deserting mid-battle is a military taboo. Though they might act separately, they would definitely signal first. Guan Wugang said, tell everyone, we're now isolated and defenseless, just like the Demon Dao. I hope all of you are very careful, those demon cultivators are crafty, they won't completely retreat. Jioding looked at Hong Quan and asked, Hong Quan, you were once ambushed by the demon sect. Can you guess what they might do next? She shook her head. At that time, my cultivation was low, I only encountered some low-level individuals, so I'm afraid I can't predict. Lu Bumei stopped Jioding and asked, sect leader, since we've come this far, have you noticed anything strange? He asked, what's the matter? Lu Bumei replied, the demon cultivators are nearly endless. He calculated silently and said, logically, the number of demon cultivators shouldn't exceed ours, but this battle has been going on for over 10 years. The righteous side has suffered countless casualties, but the number of demon cultivators hasn't decreased at all. No one knows the true identity of those cloaked figures. Jioding squatted down and looked at him. If they didn't appear for no reason, could they have dug a hole on our side? Lu Bumei nodded, that's very likely. After saying this, Lu Bumei looked at the people standing behind him, as Elder Xing Quan said, our cultivators are quietly disappearing. I suspect the Demon Dao is hunting and corrupting our righteous cultivators, acting in the shadows. He calmly analyzed, I wonder, are the demon cultivators we've encountered on this journey all losing control of their minds? They carry a sense of familiarity, as though we once knew them. Jioding's eyes widened in shock when he heard this. It's exactly that feeling. This strange feeling has existed for a long time, even during the later stages of the righteous and demon war. He recalled, since ancient times, evil has never prevailed over good. At first, people always thought defeating the Demon Dao was only a matter of time, but who would have thought the righteous and demon war could last over 100 years? We should have known that cultivators willing to fall into the Demon Dao are still the minority. Even though there are many in the cultivation world, it's not possible to completely eliminate them in over 100 years. If the demon cultivators are hiding and fighting us with fewer numbers, it's understandable. But the current situation is that this large-scale war has continued for a century. And the flames in the forest are still burning strong. A gentle breeze can revive it. The only explanation is that these demon cultivators were once our people. Otherwise, the problem of corrupted righteous cultivators wouldn't be completely solved. If that's the case, this century-long war will turn into an endless abyss, consuming all of heaven and earth. Guan Wugang said to Jioding, sect leader, I think we should retreat. We don't have to break into the imperial city. He immediately nodded, okay, everyone follow me and retreat. Suddenly, Jioding's pupils contracted. A series of enlightenment lights descended from the sky, and explosions sent everyone around them flying. Sanemo Luohan stomped on Jioding, who still shouted firmly, quickly separate, run. Shi Quan said to everyone, I'll hold him off, you all run. Tanemo Luohan clasped his hands and recited, Amit Babuda, where do you think you can escape to? Since you're already here, let's all enter the demon Dao together. A hand as large as a fishing net reached out and swiftly grabbed them, preventing them from escaping. Including Fairy Shi Quan. Guan Wugang turned to Huang Jihao and said, we were ambushed in the imperial city. Huang Jihao was stunned and said, does this mean the righteous army has been completely wiped out? Lu Bumei said, there are still troops outside waiting for orders, but the demon Dao has masters in the Great Ascension realm. It won't matter how many of us there are. Suddenly, a person was lifted up, and Huang Jihao shouted, a Ming. His pupils contracted sharply. The person called a Ming was twisted into a mass and disappeared without a trace, as if by magic. Tanemo Luohan sneered, this is the consequence of not willing to surrender. A fat man among the righteous cultivators immediately said, Senior, wait. I'm willing to become a demon cultivator, I'm willing. Several of his fellow disciples immediately rebuked him, Fat Lu, do you dare bring shame to the sect? Huang Jihao was on the verge of exploding, betraying the righteous path, seeking death. He kicked out, do you think I can't kill you right here? Huang Jihao turned himself into a sword, the sharp ornament on his head empowered him to fly toward Fat Lu. Fat Lu screamed, Senior, save me. Tanemo Luohan quickly appeared and knocked Huang Jihao flying, sending him crashing into a nearby pillar. Tanemo Luohan didn't forget to mock, I think you're the one looking for death. Fat Lu was terrified, his soul almost leaving his body as he stammered, thank you, Senior. Tanemo Luohan smiled with a raised corner of his mouth, those who understand timing are true heroes. From now on, you will be in charge of guarding them. He pointed at Fat Lu and transmitted a wave of evil energy into his body. Fat Lu could only sit there, screaming in pain. Several righteous cultivators watched the scene before them, trembling in fear. Fat Lu gradually stood up. His body was covered in purple, breathing heavily, and several tattoos appeared on his body. He struggled to speak, so this is how simple it is to grow stronger. The power flowing through my body is unparalleled. It's truly amazing. Fat Lu, feeling the continuous flow of power within him, excitedly called out to the righteous cultivators. Everyone, dying a quick death is better than living a miserable life. Wise people should surrender now. As soon as Fat Lu finished speaking, a brief silence followed, before voices erupted, I'm willing to join the demon Dao. Brother Lu, take me with you. Me too, please protect us, Senior Lu. I don't want to die. I'm sorry everyone, I can't face my master anymore. Fellow Taoists, we've done our best. We really can't fight against the demon cultivators, can we abandon that tumor? Guan Wugang turned to ask Jioding, what should we do? Another person spoke up, Jioding Jinren, should we also? Jioding snorted coldly, his face darkening, people of the Yuqing sacred sect, I'd rather die standing than live on my knees. Anyone who dares to betray the sect and join the demon Dao, don't blame Elder Zhanshan for cleansing the sect and settling the matter afterward. The people in the sect immediately froze, Elder Zhanshan. After a moment of panic, they quickly calmed themselves, their expressions serious. On Han Ju's side, he was stepping deeper into the river of Sword Dao. This time, Han Ju had already walked 20 steps in the river of Sword Dao. The heavenly yellow world-breaking sword fingers transformation was complete, and its power could immediately destroy the interface barrier. A stream of spiritual energy shot directly toward Hanju, who was meditating. This divine technique expanded and broke the world. From a distance, the trajectory of the sword energy shot out, breaking the world and instantly crossing space. As long as the divine sense could capture the opponent, it could achieve long-range shooting. Hanju slowly opened his eyes, and the light flashing in his eyes reflected light. No matter the distance, the damage of the heavenly yellow world-breaking sword finger is boundless. I believe that few mortals can withstand it. I'm no longer afraid of anyone. After leaving his meditation state, Hanju saw the system announcement board. He saw 99 messages from Hong Quan, and he exclaimed, "Damn, what happened to my dear? I haven't replied to her in a long time. Is she looking for trouble?" The system announcement board wrote, "Your friend, Jioding Jinren, has been captured by demon cultivators. Your friend, Shichuan Xianzi, has been captured by demon cultivators. Your Dao companion with Hong Quan has been captured by demon cultivators. Your disciple, Su Qi, has escaped from the state of falling into demonic madness, fully awakened, and his cultivation has skyrocketed. Your grandson, Feng Liang, has been severely injured, but was saved by a divine beast and sent to a blessed land. Your friend, Hui Fujio, was rescued and sealed by your friend, Hui Zhu. Your friend, Huang Jihao, has been captured by demon cultivators." Hanju furrowed his brow. What's going on? Master and Hong Quan were captured? Didn't they have the heavenly puppet? Why didn't they use it? Something's not right. I need to confirm the situation. Hanju raised his hand to touch his forehead and activated his divine sense. Heavenly puppet activated. After opening his eyes again, Hanju transformed into a puppet, wearing armor, and showed himself to Hong Quan and the others. At first, the surrounding space was pitch black. Hanju was stunned. Where is this? Are they imprisoned in some space? This place is different, very warm, unusual. Suddenly, a beam of light entered Hanju's eyes. Ah, there's a light. I understand now. He whispered and followed the light. Hong Quan. Hong Quan. The heavenly puppet emerged from Hong Quan's chest. He said, "Hey, are you all right?" She screamed in shock, "Husband." The sudden voice attracted the attention of the demon cultivators. They stared at the people from the Jade Qing holy sect and muttered, "Was that an illusion?" It seemed like a terrifying aura suddenly erupted. Could it be that the demon lord passed by? Below, Shichuan knelt and blocked Hong Quan, looking confused. Suddenly, Fat Lu spoke, "What's going on? Did Shichuan Xianzi from the Jade Qing holy sect decide to join us?" Fat Lu put on a lecherous expression and looked at Shichuan. "Shichuan Xianzi, tomorrow is the grand ceremony. Why not come with me? It's a waste to use your beauty as a sacrifice." She coldly didn't look at him. "Our sect will never associate with you rats." A demon cultivator stepped forward and shouted, "Hey, what just happened with Fat Lu? Check if anyone is hiding weapons." Fat Lu impatiently said, "Check what? The weapons we collected have already been taken. Do you think a female cultivator can hide anything in her chest seam?" He turned around. "Forget it, their spiritual energy has already been corroded by demonic qi, no longer posing a threat. I think you're being too cautious." A demon cultivator walked over and placed his hand on Fat Lu's neck. All right, there are 2 more batches to take away." Behind Shichuan, Hanju whispered to Hong Quan, "Don't make a sound, just send the message to the puppet." She nodded, "Okay." Hanju asked her, "What happened around here? How did all the righteous cultivators get captured?" Hong Quan replied, "Husband. The 4 major demon paths have ambushed righteous cultivators everywhere. Except for the Jade Qing holy sect, most of them have been led into demonization and turned into demon cultivators. We've already lost in this century-long righteous versus demon war." Hanju suddenly understood. So, they're capturing righteous cultivators to turn them into demon cultivators. No wonder. Hong Quan continued, not only that, but it's also said to be related to some demonic grand ceremony. Hanju exclaimed. Ah, the demonic grand ceremony, the demon emperor is making such a big move? Hong Quan looked at him disdainfully, Pa. Stop overthinking, the demonic grand ceremony seems to have some unspeakable secrets of the demon emperor. At this moment, a large mountain was shrouded in darkness, and a round hole appeared in the middle. I heard he was summoned to the mortal realm, maybe he wants to summon more demons to descend. Hanju whispered, so, does that mean all the remaining righteous cultivators are sacrifices? Hong Quan nodded, Hanju comforted her, don't worry, when the time comes, I'll step in and save them. Hong Quan raised the puppet with her bound hands, kissed its head, and gently said, no, it's too late. The demon lord's strength is too strong. Our side has already lost 7 tribulation stage experts. The power of the heavenly puppet is different from its original form and can't resist them. Husband, if we're fated, we'll be together in the next life. Han Ju grew anxious, don't say such ominous things. What about the celestial immortal mansion? Didn't they come to help? Hong Quan's gaze dimmed as she lowered her head silently, filled with sorrow. No, I still haven't seen them. Perhaps they've also been delayed. Hanju remained silent. After a while, he quietly asked, is the demon emperor here? Hong Quan answered, not yet. They are still organizing the cultivators of other major sections. Hanju thought for a moment, then there should still be time. Don't worry, take the puppet with you. I'll find a way to save them. Back afterwards, Hanju fell into deep thought. I thought the righteous path had gained the upper hand. But from what Hong Quan said, it seems the demon path is winning. The demonic grand ceremony? He recalled the words of the guardian of the river of Sword Dao, even the heavenly court's divine palace, the demon palace. Hanju thought to himself, the demon emperor probably wants to summon the ancient demon race. He elegantly raised his middle finger and muttered to himself, when the demon clan arrives, how can the world remain peaceful? We'll see what happens then. Tiandi Chao stood beside him, covering her mouth, looking at Hanju's hand and asked, Master, what does this mean? Has your new divine ability already begun? Hanju reminded her, don't learn this divine ability, it should not be used lightly, only in desperate situations. Tiandi Chao opened her mouth wide, could it be the ultimate divine skill? Hanju dismissed the thought, no. Tiandi Chao asked in confusion, if it's not a divine skill, then why use it in desperate situations? Hanju walked with his hands behind his back and said solemnly, it can help you feel a bit better before you die. The little girl, hearing this, dumbfoundedly said, huh? However, Hanju changed the subject, get ready to welcome him back. Tiandi Chao still didn't follow Hanju's line of thought, what do you mean by back? Outside, Tiandong and Zun Chang'an were drinking with the black-eyed rooster in its chicken coop, sitting on the branches of a hibiscus tree. The black-eyed rooster sighed, staying here will make you depressed sooner or later. Tiandong looked at it and said, aren't we here with you? Zun Chang'an drank while saying, I heard from the master that the 2 golden crows in the sky can't come back, can't get in, it's really worrying. At that moment, someone appeared below and shouted, Master, why aren't you fishing anymore? The 3 of them were startled, looking down, whose voice is that? When they saw who it was, they immediately shouted, Morong Chi Chi, you've returned. Hanju just came out, what did you gain from your journey down the mountain? Morong Chi Chi spoke, Master Ancestor. He hesitated after hearing Hanju's words, Hanju cut to the chase, if you want to say something but hesitate, what's going on? Morong Chi Chi slowly said, I want to ask, of all the ways in the world, is swordsmanship the strongest? Hanju answered, it depends on who it is. Morong Chi Chi continued, but it seems that I'm not suited for swordsmanship. Hanju asked back, why do you say that? Morong Chi Chi thought for a moment, although I have learned many techniques from the master. He recalled the days of running around outside, But whether it's in the sect battling or going out on missions, I find that my combat power can't surpass that of legendary prodigies. Murong Chi had been working hard every day, thinking that his talent wasn't enough, so he relied on diligence to make up for it, but he felt that after so long, there wasn't much progress. Sometimes I feel very ordinary. The grandiose words I said before going down the mountain now seem like a joke. Hanju muttered under his breath, "You little fool." Hanju looked at Murong Chi. "There is no strongest way, only the strongest cultivator. If swordsmanship doesn't suit you, then try another path." Murong Chi was stunned. "Do I really have to do this?" Hanju nodded. "Of course, don't limit yourself to just that. Which path do you feel suits you?" Murong Chi turned and rummaged through his backpack. "I've tried all the spells and weapons in the sect. I think the weapon that suits me best is the spear, or rather, a polearm." Hanju silently thought, as expected, it's a spear. Then he heard Murong Chi continue, "But I think not many people in the sect use polearms. It seems more suitable for battles in the mortal world." Hanju shook his head. "How could that be?" "The key is to find what suits you." Hanju smiled to himself, thinking, no wonder he's the god of war's bow. Even in reincarnation, he can still forcefully maintain his previous life's preference for weapons. He extended his hand and said, "Master already saw your destined path of the spear. 2 years ago, I made a long spear for you from the branches of the hibiscus tree. It's called the Xianji Chu Blade Spear. Although all weapons are not divided between immortals and mortals, if you focus on using the spear, its quality can surpass immortal weapons and can certainly be called a divine weapon." Seeing the spear appear in front of him, Zun Chang'an was dumbfounded. "Master, you can't be serious." Tiandong was also flustered. "The hibiscus divine tree is your most precious divine treasure." Tiandi Chao opened her mouth, seeing the dragon bone inside. "This spear." Hanju struck a cool pose and handed the spear to Murong Chi. "No need to idolize me, I'm just a legend. You and Feng Liang are second-generation disciples. He has special treatment, and you won't lack either. From now on, this spear will be yours." However, Murong Chi stood across from him, holding an AK-47 and looking at Hanju. "But Master Ancestor, I think this gun suits me better." Suddenly, it was as if a group of crows flew overhead. Hanju immediately shoved the long spear into Murong Chi-Chi's hand, gave him a big bun, and kicked the AK away. "Throw this thing far away. I don't allow you to use such evil things again." Murong Chi muttered, "Didn't you just say that what's best is what suits you?" Hanju shouted, "But as long as the enemy knows some displacement techniques, you're done for." At this moment, the system reminded again, Murong Chi-Chi's favorability toward you has increased, currently at 5 stars. While Murong Chi was still immersed in the good feeling, Hanju revealed shocking news. "By the way, there's one more thing. The righteous and demonic battle at the front. The righteous side is at a disadvantage. Today, I plan to step in and help, using this opportunity to explain the Tao." Hanju's words surprised everyone. A shout came from the dark cave. "Lord Demon, the cultivators under the Heavenly Pearl are unwilling to surrender to you." The demon monk Luo Han coldly said, "Stubborn ones will be taken to the demon summoning altar. Those who resist will be killed on the spot." His subordinates immediately responded loudly, "Yes." Lu Pengzi stood in the cave directing the demon cultivators, "Bring them all out." The righteous cultivators shouted insults. "Lu Pengzi, you're working for the demon cultivators. You won't even find peace in death." Lu Pengzi raised his foot and stomped on several people. "Whether I live or die is not for you to say, but I'm afraid you won't survive today." Suddenly, Lu Pengzi screamed in pain. Huang Jihui's sharp adornment pierced directly into Lu Pengzi's backside. Lu Pengzi groaned, It stabbed my butt." One demon cultivator, still standing on Huang Jihui, hurriedly said, "Sorry." Meanwhile, Huang Jihui, who was bound, coldly replied, "I was kicked down, do you believe that?" He closed his eyes in despair. "You may not be able to laugh until the end, but this headpiece really needs to be replaced." Lu Pengzi, struck in the backside, spat out rainbow-colored blood, and those around him mocked him, useless, afraid of death. I spit on your face. A few demon cultivators dragged Huang Jihui away, simultaneously scolding those nearby, pull him hard. Hong Quan slightly lowered her head and whispered, husband, I hope we can still be husband and wife in the next life. Hong Quan, in sadness, was interrupted by Shi Chuan next to her, this may have no hope. When you reincarnate, he will have already ascended to immortality. Hong Quan was shocked, what? Doesn't that mean there's a gap between two worlds? She opened her mouth wide, crying like rain, no. Guan Wutsong appeared, smiling at Shi Chuan and said, Junior sister, before I die, I've had something stuck in my chest. For a long time. Shi Chuan coldly interrupted, I don't want to hear it. But Guan Wutsong still wanted to finish, Shi Chuan decisively said, straightforward senior brother, if there's fate in the next life, I will be the senior sister protecting you, to repay you for your care of me in this life. Upon hearing this, Guan Wutsong immediately broke down. Another disciple encouraged him, Guan brother, hang in there. Two demon cultivators stood by and chatted, the transaction for the sacrifice is complete. The number should exceed 100,000, right? The other nodded, Suddenly, Shi Chuan's eyes widened in surprise, here. In front of her and the others was a massive pile of hundreds of thousands of bones, with fierce flames burning. Demon cultivators stood in neat rows. She stared at the scene in shock. How many righteous cultivators did the demon emperor capture? The Lu family kneeled beside the 9 cauldrons, crying, is there truly no hope? What about the heavenly immortal mansion, why haven't those sacred places come to help us? The 9 cauldrons' face darkened. It takes time to convert spiritual energy into demonic qi. Heaven no longer favors us. Guan Wutsong's eyes also widened. This demon war of 200 years didn't happen without reason. The Chaos Heavenly Dog looked down from the sky and said, there are too many demon cultivators. Do we really have to go up? It was sweating profusely, looking at Su Qi next to it. We've barely escaped the demon emperor's control, let's not go back. Su Qi rejected its idea, our hearts belong to the righteous path. How can we be afraid? Su Qi's eyes showed determination, if the demon emperor succeeds in his plot today, the world will certainly fall into chaos. At that time, returning will be too late. Perhaps now we lack a certain strength. The Chaos Heavenly Dog, feeling dejected, thought, kid, you're too righteous. If that Jitian god came to kill us, that would be better. Meanwhile, Jitian Shen was speeding toward them, riding a fish. On the other side, Han Ju was informed by Li Qingzi, who was running hurriedly, Elder Han, emergency report from the front line. The sect master has been captured. He was out of breath as he ran and said, those sacred places don't know what's going on, they've been disappearing one by one. What should we do? Han Ju calmly replied, they're probably in trouble as well, they must be held up. Li Qingzi asked, then what should we do? Han Ju softly comforted him, don't worry, I'm waiting for someone to appear. Li Qingzi asked in confusion, wait for someone? Who? Han Ju crossed his arms and frowned, the demon emperor's plan, what about it? Li Qingzi didn't understand, what about the plan? Elder Han, why are you waiting for him? Do you plan to go to the front line and help the sect leader and ancestor? Han Ju shook his head, it's too troublesome. Han Ju looked at the disciples sitting in a row listening to the lecture and said, today, I will explain Tao of combat here. And it can also help them. Morong Chi obediently sat and asked, ancestor, before you begin your lecture, I have a question. He asked, is the demon path we pursue for survival or to become stronger? Han Ju smiled, naturally, it's for survival. All living beings follow the Tao, advancing toward endless longevity. Those with doubts can ask the ancestor for answers. When you're the only one left alive in this world, then you'll be the strongest. Morong Chi naturally blushed and murmured, live until the end. Zun Chang'an also asked Han Ju, then, my question, Master, the heavenly Tao has rules for life and death, reincarnation. And mortals cannot transcend their limits. But can immortality free us from the cycle of life and death? Hanju explained seriously, no, immortals and gods are simply stronger cultivators than mortals. To break free from the cycle of reincarnation and attain eternal life is still far away. Otherwise, why would there be so many gods reincarnating in myths? Zun Chang'an eagerly asked, then your pursuit of endless life. Hanju interrupted him, Chang'an, who said becoming an immortal is the end of cultivation. Hanju calmly explained to them, the end of the Tao is far, and it's impossible to reach it in a day. As cultivators, what we need to do is cherish the present, resolve to move forward. If today we cultivate one less incense stick, it seems like little. Time is spent, but how much time will be wasted in 1,000 years, 10,000 years, or 100 million years? Hanju's words were like an enlightenment to all beings. Zun Chang'an clasped his hands and responded, I, the disciple, have been taught. Tiandi Chao covered its mouth and asked, what level is master at now, and when will he reach the great ascension? He Muji widened his eyes. Earlier, Elderly mentioned that when master was first met, he hadn't even reached the golden core level. Tiandi Chao's innocent question shocked both Tiandong and Zun Chang'an. Hanju stopped walking, He turned around, facing away from everyone, and softly said, I've already reached the great ascension. This soft sentence stunned Li Qingzi, Morong Qi, and Tiandi Chao, huh? Zun Chang'an and Tiandong, who had gone through tribulations with Hanju, fell silent, not daring to recall. At the magic summoning altar, the people below looked at the strange phenomenon in the sky, confused. What is that in the sky? Could it be that they're really summoning the peerless demon? According to the legend, demons were the strongest race of humans, and demons, they shouldn't be dead. I can't even mobilize the spiritual power in my body. Some demon cultivators roared, this altar doesn't allow you to come up. Kneel and crawl up. The blood demon ancestor stood high above, watching the demon cultivators roar, and you, kneel down and bow to me. Some righteous cultivators were enraged by the demon cultivators' arrogance. Jioding shouted, transformed demonic cultivators are nothing. Do you really think our Yuking sacred sect can't handle you? Their disciples immediately stopped them, no, ancestor, sect leader. The blood demon ancestor glanced at the sky, it's almost here. Suddenly, a violent wind blew in the air. A cloud of black mist blew in, gradually taking form. Plan Nihue appeared in the sky, as if gathering the night to make clothes. He floated in the air, overlooking the world, with a ghostly smile, the demon emperor's plan, what about it? Plan Nihue stood in the sky, looking down below. The blood demon ancestor spoke, we welcome the demon emperor's arrival. Jioding and others widened their eyes, looking at him in shock. The demon cultivators raised their hands and shouted, we welcome the demon emperor's arrival. We welcome the demon emperor's arrival. Ji Naiha raised both hands and loudly shouted, inheritors of the demon path. He cast a spell and said, open your eyes and see the true demon path. The people present immediately saw the images that Ji Naiha displayed for them, the world at its beginning, all things. In chaos, demons existed before gods, and after that, the human race was born, followed by the appearance of immortals. In the image, ancient beings appeared before their eyes. The demon path seeks immortality and invincibility, unbound by the heavenly Tao, and revenge for all grievances. Ji Naiha waved his hand, do as you please. The demon cultivators shouted in unison, the demon path will never decay, the demon emperor will never die. Ji Naiha clenched his fists, the people of the world have long underestimated the demon path. He stood among the shouting crowd, a typical multi-level marketing model, from today, I will lead you to the supreme position. The righteous disciples present frowned after hearing this. Hanju was silent, who taught Ji Naiha this multi-level marketing. At that moment, Ji Tianxin appeared and laughed loudly, with you? Ji Naiha was shocked, and the blood demon ancestor also saw Ji Tianxin, it's him again. The demon monk cursed loudly, damn it, he really came. Ji Tianxin rested his chin and half lay, half sat in the air, the demon emperor was lucky last time to save your life, but there won't be a second time. The great calamity of the world ends here. The righteous cultivators below shouted in unison, "It's Ji Tianxun, heaven bless the righteous path. He's finally here. Don't worry, Lord God will surely defeat them." Ji Tianxun smiled proudly, "If I can kill the demon emperor in front of both the righteous and demonic paths today, then I will be the strongest in the world, the strongest, saving all beings." Guan Wu just helped Jioding sit down. "Ancestor, hold on, the people from the sacred land have arrived." At this moment, Han Ju's puppet, the chosen one, shouted, "Hong Quan, I need your help with something." The Chaos Heavenly Dog and Su Qi hid on the cliff, also watching Ji Tianxun and Ji Niha in the sky. The Chaos Heavenly Dog asked Su Qi, "Hasn't Ji Tianxun become stronger?" Su Qi looked at the powerful spiritual energy surrounding Ji Tianxun and sighed, "What level of cultivation must one reach to have such momentum? I'm afraid even Master might not have such power." The Chaos Heavenly Dog stood up and looked up at the sky. "Then we should be fine, let's prepare to return to Dian." Su Qi shook his head, "Let's wait a little longer. My intuition tells me that this matter won't be so simple." Ji Niha glanced at the blood demon ancestor and the demon monk. "What are the witches up to, letting that guy out?" The blood demon ancestor replied calmly, "This is no longer your era. The witches have already done well to block the great ascension experts from Tianxian Fu." He said coldly, "Moreover, the elite troops that were previously used to delay Ji Tianxun have almost been completely wiped out in the encounter with the abnormal shark storm." Ji Neha frowned, "A bunch of useless fools. Since that's the case, I won't hide anymore." He extended his hand and made a hand seal. "Although I'm still a bit away from the peak, it's enough to dominate the world." Ji Neha unleashed an incredibly powerful force. The demon monk exclaimed, "The demon emperor has restored his power." The blood demon ancestor wanted to curse, "He actually concealed this from us and kept a backup plan." Ji Tianxun suddenly furrowed his brows. Ji Neha, at the peak of the 8th level of Great Ascension, sneered, "Below the Great Ascension, you are nothing but ants. Even though you can temporarily boost to the Great Ascension through secret methods, you are essentially still at the tribulation stage. Do you think defeating a 3rd level Great Ascension makes you superior? It's time for you to understand the vast difference between the righteous and demonic paths." His 4 red eyes were wide open. Ji Tianxun was immediately knocked away by a single palm strike. The blood demon ancestor smiled, "Victory is certain." The demon monk sneered, "There is no strength left to resist." Su Qi was in a panic, about to fall. "Senior Ji." The Chaos Heavenly Dog also shouted in fear, "No." Shi Quan furrowed his brows tightly. The righteous cultivators below were terrified. Has Lord Ji, Invincible, fallen like this? Ji Tianxun? Amidst the chaos, Hong Quan took the opportunity to quietly ask the puppet in her arms, "Husband, is facing the demon emperor enough?" Han Ju answered, "Just waiting for this moment." Adjusting her angle, Hong Quan allowed Han Ju's middle finger to precisely point at the triumphant Ji Neha, saying, "Nothing more." Han Ju thought to himself, when defeating an enemy, one naturally relaxes their guard, and this is the opportunity I've been waiting for. He immediately locked his divine sense. Tiandong, an eager scholar, asked, "Master, have you reached Great Ascension? When will you ascend?" Han Ju calmly replied, "What's this? So eager for me to ascend? Do you want to continue paying respects to your adoptive father?" Tian Di Chao muttered to himself, "The peak of the mortal world is Great Ascension. How strong is Great Ascension?" The wind surged and clouds gathered where Han Ju stood. "How strong is Great Ascension? I'll show you." Han Ju clenched his fists. "Great Ascension is." He politely raised his middle finger, "The south and north of heaven and earth." Han Ju waved his hand like painting a stroke, decisively saying, "One finger to kill. Great Ascension means I am invincible." The sky seemed to be sliced open, and the nearby disciples were dumbfounded, turning into stone statues. Ji Tianxun suddenly retreated, and a beam of light next to the altar cut through the sky. A strong light shone around, emitting dazzling rays. Ji Neha just stood there, unable to react, At that moment the Demon Emperor made no move. Ji Niha's body shattered in the wind, quietly entering the world and then disappearing silently. At that moment, Ji Tianxin reacted, flipping like a fish leaping out of the water, clutching his chest and coughing non-stop. Even if I die today, I will drag you down with me. Whoever has the ability, come. However, when he saw the situation in front of him, a big question mark appeared above his head. Where is the Demon Emperor? Ji Tianxin only saw a part of Ji Niha that had not disappeared. He muttered, both body and soul are destroyed. Ji Tianxin blankly said, who am I? Where am I? Is this victory? Ji Tianxin turned his head to look at the gradually closing rift, his mind flashing. Did a celestial make a move just now? How could a mortal have such power? However, even so, Ji Tianxin vaguely saw a figure pass through the closing gap. He thought to himself, there's a familiar feeling in that sword energy. Hanju pointed forward, and Ji Niha's body was struck by a sudden blow. His 4 eyes widened, and then he immediately vanished. Ji Tianxin was confused. Where's the Demon Emperor? The Blood Demon Ancestor and the Demon Monk shouted loudly. How could the Demon Emperor be? The two of them retreated in fear, and the Blood Demon Ancestor panicked. There is someone in the mortal world capable of killing the Demon Emperor in an instant. Could it be a celestial from the heavenly immortal mansion, who hasn't made a move yet? The Demon Monk shouted, stop standing there, run. Even the 8th level of the Great Ascension was killed instantly. If we stay, we'll die. Before leaving, they loudly threatened Ji Tianxin, you dared to call upon a celestial, just wait, our heavenly demon palace. We'll definitely find your heavenly immortal mansion and settle the score. Magic soul secret technique, blood escape. Even Ji Tianxin was a bit confused. No celestial had descended from the heavenly immortal mansion. He thought, a being capable of killing the Great Ascension with one sword, yet the Demon Lord ran away? Ji Tianxin squinted. In this world, apart from Guan Yu, is there any cultivator stronger than me, or is it true that there is someone called a celestial? But that familiar feeling earlier, what was that? Both the righteous and demonic cultivators fell silent, unable to react in time. From Ji Ding to High Tone, Guan Wugong, Li Bumi, and others on the roadside, all were petrified. Huang Jiho's eyes widened, stiffly saying, the Demon Emperor is dead. The demonic cultivators immediately put on a dramatic scene, exclaiming, oh my god, what happened? A powerful being managed to kill the Demon Emperor directly? My imperial treasure is gone, what do we do now? Below, there was a clamor, Ji Tianxin was killed? It couldn't be that Ji Tianxin was frightened earlier, but who did it? Isn't the Demon Emperor a Great Ascension cultivator? Could it be a celestial, a protector of the righteous path? High Tone muttered, has Hanju become strong enough to kill a Great Ascension cultivator in an instant? Guan Wugong was surprised, Elder Han can't be that strong, right? At that moment, a few members of the Yuling sacred sect remembered and looked at the puppet clutched to their chests. It seems like it was responsible for aiming at the target. Everyone looked at the puppet's strange posture, raising its middle finger to the sky, quietly saying, could it really be Elder Han making the move? In contrast to the righteous cultivators' emotions, the demonic cultivators began to panic. The Demon Emperor is dead. The Demon Lord fled. The heavens are going to destroy our demonic path. Not good, the prisoners are starting to resist. Their spiritual power has recovered. Quick, retreat. Don't worry about the prisoners, Ji Tianxin is still up there. The Chaos Heavenly Dog asked Su Qi, what exactly happened just now? If I'm not mistaken, Senior Ji used the gap to kill the Demon Emperor? Su Qi shook her head, that wasn't sword energy, it was pure spiritual energy, completely different. Suddenly, Su Qi said something that surprised the Chaos Heavenly Dog, wait a moment, this aura seems familiar. It must be Master making the move. The Heavenly Dog was shocked, Master made a move? Su Qi's eyes sparkled with tears as she firmly replied, of course, Master has always been protecting me. Secretly, otherwise, I would have died out there long ago. The Chaos Heavenly Dog stuck out its tongue. Feeling wronged, I hate this, why don't I have that kind of treatment? Has Master forgotten about me? The Chaos Heavenly Dog called out to Su Chi, let's hurry up and run. Don't let Ji Tianshan recover his power and catch us. I don't want to be his pet. Su Chi excitedly said, okay, let's go to Dian. The demon summoning ceremony was interrupted here. Ji Tianshan, like a madman, rode a fish and slaughtered everywhere, as if competing for MVP, destiny, demonic cultivators, you're all doomed. High Tone looked at him. It seems he doesn't need our help anymore. Hong Quan was puzzled, but why does it feel like he's very angry? Ji Ding rubbed his wrist, which had been tied, and explained, he lost the lead, who wouldn't be angry? After Han Ju made his move, he thought to himself, the demon emperor was killed instantly, the demon lord fled, now the righteous path should be stable. The disciples' eyes immediately brightened. Tian Di Chao excitedly said, Master is too amazing. Mu Rongqi widened his eyes, looking, Ancestor, what kind of divine power is this? Han Ju asked him, what, do you want to learn? Mu Rongqi excitedly said, yes, I really want to, extremely want to. Han Ju asked, didn't you say you don't like sword techniques? Tian Dong took the opportunity to push Mu Rongqi aside, yes, you said you don't like sword techniques, but if Master teaches me, I would love it. Mu Rongqi angrily defended, who said that? I can try to switch to spear techniques, it will definitely be domineering. Han Ju looked at the words in the red book, Plan Naihi, alright, stop arguing. You closed the book and explained, this divine power is called the Heavenly Earth Universe-Breaking Sword Finger. The difficulty of cultivation is quite high. Those who wish to learn, sit down, and I will first pass on the heart method to you. Whoever comprehends it first, I will teach them first. Several disciples immediately agreed happily. Han Ju looked at the clear blue sky, it feels like a weight has been lifted off my chest. The hatred left by the enemy is almost gone. Congratulations to the righteous path for this victory. The time curse, Zhuke, and the cultivation of the Juyan Taoist are doubled, incredibly powerful. Meanwhile, in the sky, some people were flying in the air, handing out flyers, spreading the news, victory has been reported. From the front lines, the voices echoed through the streets, the demon emperor was killed by a celestial, the demon army collapsed, the world is shaken. Everyone saw it, and the most shocking thing was that no one knew who the person was. Even the Five Elements Grand Commander, Old Ma, gave a very high evaluation. He was already at the 5th level of the Great Ascension, and one of the highest figures in the righteous path. He sighed, when I heard that a sword shook this world, I knew the strongest strategic position couldn't be maintained anymore. Being in the same era as him is my misfortune. Prepare to live in his shadow. A few days later, after the demon emperor's death, various strange legends about the celestial spread in the mortal world. The teacher shook his fan and began telling a story. Continuing from the previous topic, the demon emperor planned to rebuild the demon dynasty. Several people below immediately reacted strongly. Stop talking about that. Tell us about how the demon emperor was killed by a celestial. Don't you know? The teacher tapped the table. All right, if you want to hear about the celestial who killed the demon emperor, then let's start with the myths and legends from 1,000 years ago. He shook his fan again and continued, it all begins with the legends from 1,000 years ago. Everyone knows that the celestial is the ancient god who controls the Temple of Slaughter. The people below began shouting loudly, do you believe? I'll kill you right now? Xian Qingjun sat in the tea house, resting his chin and listening to the commotion around him. Suddenly, a voice came to his ear, the demon army is retreating, that person is coming. A moment later, someone entered carrying food and happily shouted, guest, roasted meat noodles, emperor's buns, and pig lung lotus seed soup are here. But behind the screen, it was empty, and she was startled, where did she go? A waiter carrying wine also jumped. I clearly saw her leave. The girl immediately cursed, damn it, the shopkeeper let someone eat for free again. Xian Qingjun walked alone on the silent stone road, and the atmosphere around him was chilling. Xian Qingjun entered and called out, respected one. The respected one's deep voice asked, "The planner is dead, how come you don't know who killed him?" Qian-Qing-Jun calmly knelt and saluted. "I wasn't at the scene at the time, but I heard that the demonic cultivators involved didn't appear. I suspect it was the celestial gods of the enemy who made the move. After all, it's not the first time the celestial gods descended to the mortal realm." The four of them silently knelt below, and the respected one didn't speak. The blood demon ancestor and the demon monk's bodies trembled violently. Qian-Qing-Jun asked, "Respected one, should the demon clan's plan to enter the mortal realm continue?" After all, the planner has already initiated the sacrificial ritual, and the demon clan's fate is approaching the mortal realm. This matter may have already alerted the heavenly realm. If it continues, I fear. However, the respected one said, "Continue." He left a sentence before disappearing, "Leave the follow-up matters to the demon lord. In the mortal realm, the true demon has already been arranged by me. He will go and find that true demon." Qian-Qing-Jun was stunned, raising his head and asking, "What about me?" The respected one answered, "Ascend as soon as possible." Qian-Qing-Jun's body slightly trembled, and he responded, "Yes." Qian-Qing-Jun remembered Hanju's indifferent expression, and his eyes were filled with sorrow. 10 years after the hard cultivation of the Qing Mountain Yuling sacred sect, the demon emperor's planner died, and the snow had covered the mountains and forests. Hanju was still in the process of cultivation, having already reached the 2nd level of the Great Ascension and the 9th level. Perfection of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique. The 6 paths of reincarnation technique had reached the 9th level, allowing him to absorb the essence of the sun and moon upward and gather the spiritual energy of the 9 underworlds downward. The 8th level of the 6 paths of reincarnation technique contained the power of the reincarnation gate, which allowed entry into the underworld, to absorb souls, and to enter the 6 paths of reincarnation. Previously, Hanju had not yet explored this gate due to insufficient cultivation, but now the gate was gradually opening. Hanju thought, now that the 6 paths of reincarnation is perfected, it's the right time to go down and see. A surge of spiritual energy descended, and the underworld flowers bloomed below. Hanju appeared in the darkness. He stood amidst a cluster of fiery red underworld flowers and muttered, "It seems the reincarnation gate is indeed connected to the underworld." Hanju walked forward, reaching a hanging bridge spanning across a river. He looked down at the pitch-black river water. This black water is truly strange, it can dissolve divine consciousness. Hanju stared at the water's surface. Could this be the legendary river of the Yellow Springs? There are many unknowns, and things are still unfolding. It's best not to act recklessly. Hanju continued crossing one hanging bridge after another, his thoughts constantly turning, but his divine sense could not sense the surrounding space. Where did I come from, and where should I go? Moreover, this bridge network is tangled and endless. Which one should I cross? Countless strange souls appeared under the river. Hanju was startled. Souls? Suddenly, Hanju saw light at the end of the bridge, and he froze. When did the underworld have light? Is that the exit of the reincarnation gate? Are they trying to lead me out? Something suddenly caught Hanju's attention. In front of a small stall, many souls were lining up. Wait, there's someone over there. It was a simple, humble stall. Someone poured a green liquid into a cup, then handed it to a soul outside, who took the cup and drank it. After drinking, the soul returned the cup and then flew a little further ahead before disappearing. Hanju was stunned. The soul disappeared? He was startled, looking up towards a higher point. At that moment, Hanju saw 3 characters written above, "Cross the Neha River." His heart trembled. Cross the Neha River? Am I not supposed to be reincarnated? Why am I on the Neha River? I need to leave quickly, quickly. However, as soon as this thought crossed his mind, Hanju felt a terrifying pressure that made him unable to move. Hanju's body immediately cracked open. A huge woman suddenly appeared behind him, blocking his way, and asked, "Before the cycle of life and death, do you wish to turn back?" Hanju was startled and recognized her, Mengpa. His eyes were filled with bloodshot veins, an existence that can control the underworld's reincarnation, cannot be touched. Hanju tried hard to look back, but in the end, he only saw. From Hanju's perspective, he only saw a huge woman, wearing a hat adorned with underworld flowers. Her face was covered by the brim, making it unclear. Hanju's eyes immediately released spiritual energy. Let's go for broke. Hanju made up his mind, I can't let her notice me. He then immediately activated his Great Ascension level spiritual energy to self-destruct. The underworld flowers were tossed in the wind. The hanging bridge couldn't support itself, and even the stone slab engraved with the words "Cross the Naiha River" was affected. However, MANHWA gently extended a finger, stopping in front of Hanju's spiritual energy ball, and uttered a single word, freeze. At the moment the spiritual energy was about to explode, it suddenly stopped. Then she said, shatter, and the spiritual energy ball immediately exploded, leaving nothing behind. The self-destruction failed. MANHWA secretly laughed, interesting, I was wondering why he was so decisive, turns out it's just a puppet technique. MANHWA set the broken pieces down, it's a pity this divine skill has been lost for over 100 years. It was the only technique capable of countering the great Luo. What kind of background does he have? At this moment, the door slowly closed. Hanju exerted all his strength with one hand, trying to close the crack in the celestial pool's great ascension realm, but he was suppressed to the point of being unable to move. What kind of realm is she in? Even the Taoist of the absolute realm doesn't have this kind of suppression. Thankfully, my main body didn't enter. Hanju touched the floor with one hand and only then realized something unusual. Everything in the room had been frozen. Hanju looked up and thought, just a bit of unowned power reaching my divine sense, and it can freeze everything. This underworld is not easy to enter. What if he uses his divine sense to lock my main body? Hanju frowned, I'm afraid he could kill me even through a world barrier. It's so hard to get out, and now this happens. Even with great ascension cultivation, it's still not enough. This life might be the last time I can leave. Hanju was deep in thought and didn't notice that he was drenched in sweat. It's so hot today. The room is frozen. But the air is so dry and hot. At that moment, Tiandi Chao rushed in from outside, shouting loudly, Master, Master. Her face was pale, and she urgently said, something bad has happened. The two suns are about to fall. Hanju frowned, what? Outside, the two extra suns had grown several times larger, indicating they were approaching the mortal realm. Hanju looked at the enormous suns in the sky, and the plants below were almost burned to nothing. The two golden crows had already decided to enter the mortal world. Lu Chang'an narrowed his eyes, standing in front of the black-eyed rooster, and said, you dug the hole, you fill it yourself. Tiandong also joined in, trying to scare the black-eyed rooster, get ready to sprinkle 1,000 pounds of ginger in the sky and pee. Watching the two enormous suns getting closer, Hanju understood, it seems those two golden crows are really determined to enter the mortal realm. As the two golden crows approached, the heat wave had already triggered a forest fire, causing all the animals to scatter. The commander shouted, and several people immediately cast spells, using mouthfuls of water to put out the fire. Team 3, move up, Team 4 follow closely. All the crops had withered and turned black. Tiandong, Morong Chi, and Lu Chang'an irritably pushed the black-eyed rooster out, with Tiandong shouting, look at the mess you've made. The spiritual food Chang'an worked so hard to grow has been burned. Lu Chang'an shouted, just sacrifice him to the heavens. Hanju stepped outside to observe, if these two are truly allowed into the Jade Clear sacred sect, they might be wiped out. Hanju approached the two golden crows in the sky, the demonic path is marching quietly, and soon these two beasts will come rushing to their deaths. Do they really treat the barrier of the mortal realm as a decoration? But when he got closer, Hanju was startled. He saw a crack in the barrier. When did this crack appear? Hanju stared at the crack. Did the golden crows come because they found the crack? Before Hanju could think it through, the two golden crows squeezed through the crack and headed towards the mortal realm. They went in. Morongchi poured a bucket of water over the black-eyed crane's head and said, "I'm afraid it's too late, it's better to roast it directly than soak it." The village chief shook his head, "No need to roast, the golden crows will handle it themselves." The workers suddenly realized, damn, the sky is falling. It's over, should we water the crops? Hanju raised his middle finger again, his expression serious. Should he use the heaven and earth mystic yellow breaking barrier sword finger? Just then, the system announcement board sounded a notification, drawing his attention. If one has bad luck by nature, should they check its source? The board read, Divine Gold Ship Status, the 7th level of the Great Ascension Realm was abandoned by the Golden Horse God clan due to poor aptitude. After sensing the Fuso tree's aura, it grew stronger and deliberately entered the mortal realm. The demon clan disrupted the heavenly way's luck, and these two small golden horses found an opportunity to grow stronger and charged into the mortal realm. While charging towards the golden crows, Hanju thought, could it be the influence of the heavenly luck that weakened the barrier's power? No wonder they were abandoned by the Golden Crow God clan. It seems that even if I kill them, I won't be directly retaliated against. But if I act now, what if my luck is bad and I still face retaliation? Forget it, that clan must have an extremely strong sense of pride. Killing them might still lead to resentment. If I can't kill them, retreating is impossible. So all that's left is... Hanju grew anxious in his heart and released his spiritual power forcefully, clasping his hands together in a pose, I can't be stopped by just the sun's true fire. Hanju withdrew his hands and prepared to strike, since you're here, let me try the move I've forgotten for many years. Accept this attack. Hanju used the 9-dragon demon banishment seal, piercing through the golden crow's shield. He shouted, catch them. At this moment, Hanju saw something and froze for a moment. Meanwhile, the black-eyed crane was holding its face awkwardly and saying, I don't want to, my meat isn't tasty at all, I'm definitely not lying to you. While shouting, it suddenly quieted down. It looked up at the sky, the two suns are gone, where did they go? In the sky, Hanju also saw the crack in the barrier closing. The crack immediately restored itself, and Hanju thought, is this the heaven's way repairing the flaw? That's quick, it seems the mortal realm has escaped disaster this time. Hanju silently thought, and just then, someone approached from behind. Ji Xianxin asked, where are the two sons? Hanju calmly replied, I drove them away. Ji Xianxin continued, was it you who acted just now? Hanju knew there was no escaping it and nodded, admitting, it was me. Ji Xianxin sat on a flying fish, crossing his arms in dissatisfaction and said, since that's the case, was it you who killed the demon emperor? Ji Xianxin then showed a smug expression, pointing at Hanju's face and saying, the spiritual energy just now was incredibly domineering, like the energy used to summon demons on an altar. It was you, wasn't it? Don't try to deny it. He frowned and said, once I say it, my life will be hard to return to peace, being the number one in the world is your matter. Ji Tianxin blushed and muttered, number one in the world. He looked at Hanju's back, embarrassed to the point where his head turned red, this is your chance to become famous, how could it? Hanju slightly turned his head and said, I cultivate for immortality, not for fame or profit, that's all. Ji Tianxin sat in the air on the fish's head, dazed, focus on cultivation, not fighting for fame and profit? Ji Tianxin's thoughts ran like a typewriter, do I pursue these things? The biggest difference between him and me might be this. The path to becoming the strongest is like this. The answer may be right in front of us, but everyone's realm is different. So we cannot perceive it. I have always been competing against unbeatable opponents, conquering the world and ascending to the divine position, but compared to him, I seem so shallow. Ji Tianxin fell into deep thought, I understand now. At this moment, the system reminded again, Ji Tianxin's favorability towards you has increased, now at 3 stars. Hanju was speechless, it can actually increase favorability? At this time, Morongchi and the others walked out, their eyes sparkling as they asked, Master, has the sun returned to normal? Were the golden crows eliminated? Hanju explained while walking with his hands behind his back. The Golden Crow clan is a celestial god clan. How could it be said that they can be killed just like that? Murongchi immediately asked, then what about them? The black-eyed chicken interjected, it seems the Golden Crows have gone home. Finally, the master can sleep peacefully. Hanju's expression darkened, and he coldly waved his sleeve. They can't go back. This is the Chaos Robe, which can hold all things in the universe, yin and yang intertwining. The black-eyed chicken widened its eyes, cold and violent, its bloodline stirred, and its size uncontrollably fluctuated. 2 golden crows flew out of the sleeve, and the terrifying oppression made one feel the fear of death approaching. Golden crows. In the blink of an eye, the black-eyed chicken had fled to the fuso tree and was crying, I don't want to. Its actions silenced everyone. Hanju said, Little Black, you need to get used to this. In the future, the fuso tree will need you and the golden crows to guard it. The other disciples immediately lowered their heads and looked at the ground. Zunjiang and asked, Is this the golden crow? Tiandong was also shocked. If not for that oppression, I would have thought the master caught the wrong thing. Tiandi Grass excitedly said, The divine beasts are indeed different. Tiandong saw the 2 golden crows snuggling together like chicks and asked Hanju, Master, why did you put so much effort into keeping these 2 pests? Hanju said, Let me explain, I kept them because the fuso tree will continue to attract divine beasts. For the stability of the mortal realm, it's best to have them comfort the fuso tree. Moreover, when you go out in the future, wouldn't it attract more attention if you ride the golden crows? Hanju immediately made a threatening expression and said to the 2 golden crows, I'll give you some time to think. If you're willing to acknowledge me as your master, stay on the mountain and cultivate hard, and you can survive. The eldest golden crow fearfully stammered, Why should I stay here? Hanju sneered, You 2 have caused misery in the mortal realm. Do you still want to leave? Since you appeared, the weather has never cooled down. I've been cultivating in the scorching heat. Do you think that's easy? Murongchi also followed the sect's tradition and threatened with Hanju's terrifying face, because you 2 dried a lot of spirit food not long ago. If you don't cooperate, you'll end up stewing mushrooms with the little chicken. Tiandong leaned closer and looked at them, showing his teeth and saying, I say, if they don't agree, drag them to join the 79 group. The whole world wants to eat their meat and drink their blood. The 2 golden crows immediately knelt down and kowtowed, Master, my sister and I are willing to submit. Hanju muttered, This will do. Zunjiang asked him, Master, how do we solve the problem of compensating the major sects for the spirit food? Murongchi said, The spirit food of all sects is gone. If we were to compensate, our sect would probably go bankrupt. Hanju coughed twice and raised his hand to make 6 seals, then said, This matter cannot be publicized. Just pretend you don't know about it. The disciples immediately obeyed, understood. Hanju branded the 2 golden crows with a mark. The sins you committed were already destined by fate. You are enemies of life and death. If you show up casually, you'll definitely be surrounded and attacked. From now on, stay on this mountain. The eldest golden crow asked, What if they come here to fight? Hanju answered, Don't worry. Since you've submitted, you are now one of us. This mark will ensure your safety. Remember, while living on the mountain, you must not harm each other. Do you understand? The 2 golden crows loudly answered, Understood. The black-eyed chicken asked in confusion, Master, Shiquan Fairy said these 2 are divine beasts, but they don't seem that strong. Tiandi Grass looked at it with disdain, Aren't you ashamed? You were the first to run just now. Hanju softly said a highly lethal line, Their strength is indeed ordinary, just the great ascension realm. The black-eyed chicken's round body trembled, Great ascension realm? Hanju again threatened the 2 golden crows, In the future, you'll live with Little Black under the fuso tree. If you don't understand anything, just ask it. The 2 golden crows curled up and answered, Understood. The black-eyed chicken cried out in despair, Hanju, the master over there is at the great ascension stage. If you want To die with me, what if one day I feel like grinding my teeth and eating you? Hanju disdainfully replied, who told you to bring them here? He said solemnly, from today onwards, you will stay with them and keep an eye on them for me. Zun Xiao, holding 2 golden crows, walked over to the maple tree and introduced, this is the black-eyed chicken's pigsty. Then, he turned around and pointed at the wooden house where Mu Rongqi and Tiandong were building, saying, this is your new home. You need to get along well from now on. The black-eyed chicken couldn't hide its despair, crying and screaming, it's over, it's over. The good days of the chicken family are gone forever. Tiandong couldn't bear to look at it and propped himself up, saying, think positively. At least the golden crows are